Get 'em Jimmy, where low shack at? The bottle's getting empty up the Kraken. We stacking chips, all of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated pub sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced. Leave the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call a truce. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon, 'cause we be pubbing.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Thursday, November 30th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. It was a battle last night. We dominated NBA, but I never sent in the Lakers and Nuggets action. And, if I had I would have gone 5-0 in NBA. Dutch went 3-0. I went 3-0. But every single game was no sweat. Every single game was double digits, sit back and cash so easily. It was wild. And I was watching the Clippers game, start of the Clippers game, and the two experts were like, the woman was like, who do you think is going to win? The two experts, Kings. I was like, God, these guys couldn't be more wrong. She's like, what, you don't, my wife was like, you don't think these guys know about basketball? And I was like, oh no, they're basketball players. They're not gamblers. They're just saying, the Kings are a better basketball team than the Clippers. They have, no sense of how to make money off of this basketball game. Like the Kings are going to be capable of doing anything after that emotional victory last night. I mean, even the fans were exhausted and the fans were tired. It was wild. So I feel like I left money on the table. And then, when we were capping the Arkansas-Duke game, I knew Arkansas was the play. And then I was like, okay, after the show, I was about to put in, I was like, you know what? This line's going up. Let's just wait and see how high it goes. And then life took over. Ella has a dance recital. And the next thing you know, the game started. I'm like, oh no! I didn't move on it. But it was a very good day. And we're 20-11 now in NBA. So I can't wait to cap the card with Darryl. 20-11 is a pretty nice start. 20-11, 64.5%, plus 8.37 units ROI, plus 27% average line, minus 107. Should be 22-11. Sides were just dominating. So I'm trying so hard just to focus on sides only. And then NHL, I was just bad. I mean, it was tough watching that Kings game. And, they dominated the Capitals. And I want to bet the Ducks so badly. And I will, I think, if we talk it out. We have Mr. Gogster, welcoming back Mr. Gogster to the show. It's going to be great having Gogster back in action. I've moved on 5 bets in NHL. Then we have Daby Cab in NCAA basketball, and then college football. And then after his first college football game, Dave Rogers is going to join us. They're both going to do the last 2 college football games together. Then Dab will go off to, smoke enormous blunts and make money in sports gambling and teach kids how to pitch. And our guy, Dave Rogers, will stick around with his best bets in college basketball. Then it's Darryl will join us for NBA. Our guests in NBA are hitting very hard. Our experts are hitting very hard. And I'm just following suit with you guys in the chat. I'm trying not to do anything in NBA until I'm here with you guys. That's just clearly working. It's clearly succeeding. And then we get, how Razor Sharp Picks talks about how the closing line value, he doesn't care. He wants all the information possible. Now, I know that you want to beat line moves in NBA. It's important, but so far, just focusing on the information that we have, with our X's and O's mixed with the market, we're hitting at 65% in NBA. So let's just keep doing that. How about we keep doing that? Shit. Shout out to all the cappers in the chat. We got Justin McElvey in the house. Stacks play of the day. Tyler Lockett over 49.5 yards, a plus 104. We'll copy and paste that. We are going to get into NFL right after NHL. So Stacks, thank you for sharing that with us and lock in. And there it is. And that Alabama A&M game that Mikey gave out was a thing of beauty too. I mean, it took overtime, but outright winner. The chosen one on OKC minus 1.5 and Brooklyn first half minus 4.5. Andrew, I love this NHL card. We're gonna have a lot of fun capping it, and Gogster's gonna be back in action. He was back Tuesday for low check. I have all the records up to date. I'm still behind on Ron Crawford's spreadsheet play today record, but I'll get to that, man. But good, it's just the records take hours and hours and hours, and I know it's so important to the show. The honesty and transparency, but tracking every single pick that's made on this show by every single person who comes on to this, not easy. Sammy Comer on the Bucks first quarter -2.5 at -113. Let's copy and paste that right under the chosen ones action. Swig Bets in the house says, took a week sports break while traveling. Psyched to be back. Love energy every show, big guy. Love having you here with us, Swiggy. There's Red Girl in the house. We love you, Red Girl. We miss you. Ken Wood ready to get to work. Ron Crawford spreadsheet play today is in, and it's the Winnipeg Jets. The Winnipeg Jets. God, I love that hockey game, but I felt, the Winnipeg's in this great spot to bounce back after those two losses. And, I'm so high on Winnipeg. I have their over 91.5 points, but I'm just hesitant and nervous about fading the oil right now. Jay Smooth in the house, rural video. Dan Kelly ready to get to work, and WT with a $10 dono to bless our action, saying happy holiday, low baggers. We love you, WT. Thank you so much for that, man. Thank you for blessing our action, getting us off I'm not sleeping much. I can't speak very well. A new worker in the house. Great to see you, Paco Healy. There's Slatsy in the house. He got on the Panthers -1 and -133 last night. I couldn't get it at that number. I don't know what the hell. I was trying to find it. Pinnacle wasn't putting it up. I was trying to get it. I ended up just taking the -1.5 at +115. But I really like the spot with you. There's Mikey M in the house. Cashman 19 says like the Jets today have futures for them to play the Rangers in the Cup. 95-1, now 65-1. There is Razor Sharp Picks, Gamblers First Glance, North Carolina money line. Razor Sharp Picks and Daby Cab bullish on North Carolina yesterday. Nice casher. D Jenkins Series Business, Dante Mack. Just Mac, is this a weird I danced during the intro? No, man, this is what it's supposed to be. Sammy Comer says one of the worst spots of the year for the Kings last night. I mean, really, just because they were off for 5 days? I mean, look, I get it. A lot of you guys were on the Capitals, and I mean, we wouldn't be talking about this if Kopitar wasn't offside on that tying goal. I mean, they shot him 39-15. Look, I get it. It was, but one of the worst spots of the year might be a little much, Sammy. I mean, yeah, they're on a 5-game winning streak, and they have 5 games off, and they're playing against a team that just lost to the Sharks. I get it. I don't know if I go as far as worst spots of the year, but I hear you. Ron Crawford spreadsheet play today is in for basketball. Brooklyn -8. Copy and paste that. Brooklyn -8. Get that in here. Brooklyn -8 spreadsheet play of the day in NBA. Deacon Mike in the house. There's LJ from H-Town. He'll be rocking with us tomorrow. Swigbet says worst part of the Kings game is having to stay up until 1:30 a.m. That's not my problem. That's not my problem at all. My problem is when the game's over and you go through all of the emotions, all of everything, and you're sitting there till 3:30 in the morning. All right, man, bear, pig in the house. 2-team parlay. Georgia and the Clippers cashed out, and Georgia came back and hit it. It's okay. It's okay. Christopher Comentini ready to get to work. Great to see you. Billy Friedrich says the big question is, who does Jose want to win the Survivor contest? We'll find out. Remember, our new time for our Cappers contest, hosted by Jose and myself, is 3 p.m. Eastern. I'm pushing it back an hour because I want to enjoy the show. And when this show ends, right, and I have to run all over there, it's just a little too much, man. Kong's Clips, I love that. It says he's seeing sides really well. Keep cashing Kong's Clips. Stimmy OG, big on the over 47. If you watched Bankroll Blitz, I doubled up on that over, and I got 23 and 46. I was bullish on the over, and so I'm right with you, Stimmy. Now we're going up against, a huge trend on these primetime unders, and sometimes you got to make a stand. I'm right there with you, Stimmy. I'll put that here so we can discuss it with Gogster. Here we go. Gogster. There we go. All right. Great to see all of you guys. It's time to get to work. SJ, I'm glad you did. Glad we cashed. DJ, 100 grand in the house. Cashville, Rican, ready to get to work. D. Jenkins says his NHL card is a beauty. All right, let's roll. Von Polo also on the Cowboys over. I love it. Fuel your fire. Antoine Seymour. All right, Antoine Seymour. Now fuel your fire. I got to remember that. Antoine Seymour, a longtime low bagger, great friend of the show. I love it. Dan Kelly on Tiger, plus 140 head-to-head over Justin Thomas. Round one today starts in 45 minutes. Deacon Mike betting Chicago team total over 2.5 tonight against Detroit, who played in New York last night. See, I can't wait to talk about that game, Deacon, because, I talked about what that Detroit team would look like without Dylan Larkin, and they're exactly. I mean, they were lucky to score those 2 goals, the Moritz Sider and then the Fabry snipe job 15 seconds later. They're not going to be offensive at all. And now on the second half of a back-to-back, I just think it's going to be dump and chase, cycle, keep it deep, keep it simple. I really badly want the under 6.5 in that game. I mean, when you look at those 4 centermen that they have, sure, you could say that they're weak offensively, but you could also say it's a pretty strong group defensively. I just wanted to talk that out because the Blackhawks, the bet under in the Blackhawks game is optional misery, as my stepdad would call it in the family meeting when I was younger. All right, Tony Trill ready to get to work. Tacky JP, the nuke worker. Oh, Sammy meant the Kings. Oh, my bad, Sammy. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. You know what happens to me when I don't sleep. I react a little quickly. But you're right. That was just. Thank you. I apologize for that, Sammy. Oh man. Deacon says, "I'll bet you 3 pigeons that Chicago scores over 2.5." I'm not against your over 2.5. I just think this game could go under 6.5, and I want to talk it out, maybe bet it. All right, Nasty Nate in the house. It is great to see all of you guys. We have a huge card today. 5 leagues. We have NHL, NFL, NCAA basketball, NCAA football, and NBA. And our experts are running real nice right now. Your first guest. Now, we do have a long NHL card, Nasty Nate and Von Polo. And some of you guys who don't enjoy capping NHL as much as us. So maybe it's time to spin up a blunt, get yourself a coffee. But we're going to get paid on this NHL card. And I've got moves on the first 4 or 5 games. And we're going to be somewhat brisk. We're going to try to be brisk. We got huge games. I know we got huge games. But I just want you guys to know that is the situation here. And your guest, he was up double-digit units. Just before he went on hiatus, he had to switch his work schedule for 2 weeks, and then he had a couple tough shows of recent, and he's still in the black, but he got off to a hell of a start. And that Frozen Frenzy day of his was just a monster day. Now that was with Pistol Pete Loshak on a Tuesday, but I track everybody's action here. Every single capper that comes on this show, I track every single pick that they give out. And as much as it's at times, as much as it crushes me time-wise, and my wife just despises it, I know how important it is to the show. So let's get to work and bring on and welcome back our NHL expert on Thursdays here on Betting with the Bag. From a town known for its limps and neck tats. I'm telling you, you look down the street in Belleville, everybody's got a limp. Please welcome Mr. Gogster to the show. Gogster, how are you, my friend?
What's going on, Jimmy? Glad to be back. Thanks for the intro. Yeah, it's this town's not what it used to be, guys. It really isn't. But you change with the times, and it is what it is. We got a nice, juicy 14-game slate on our hands here, Jim. I'm looking forward to it. Glad to be back. And let's get after it, brother.
Let's get after it. We're going to keep a pace here. Great to see all you guys in the chat. Joseph Thompson, great to see you, my man. And one thing here. Oh, and Razor says, does this next guest slap his ass while capping NHL as well? That is a good question. Is that just a horse thing, or is that just horses?
Just the horses.
Okay, just horses. Are you? That's the first time I've laughed in a couple of days. Are you coming to Pubapalooza?
Pubapalooza? Oh yeah, I still got to get the ticket there. I got some funds being rushed to the account here because I said, guys, I got a big thing in March. I'm going. So yeah, I'll be there, Jim. Just got to get the ticket there, but
I love it. All right, and one quick thing about those of you asking about the Vegas Knights, you should know that my dad sent in a $200 bet on the Vegas Golden Knights, a plus 105. So
Really? Going against the hometown Canucks.
That's not being sent. And it did scare me because he's been so square. And here he is fading our team that he watches every night against the Knights team that's played. This will be their third game of 4 nights. And I almost sent it in, and I still could if I want, right? But I have not yet. All right, let's get to work. Mr. Gogster, and I angry about last night, quite angry about, yes, Juan Polo, my dad was on the Ravens. And that should have been a first down and a kneel out, and he should have lost. And yes, he has the money. He said it's burning a hole. That was his message to me. This Ravens cash is burning a hole in my pocket. That was the start of it. And I was like, But I don't even know if he knows. He doesn't watch the show. I don't know. I mean, I've told him before that I don't send it in, but I think he laughs it off. I don't know what he knows. All right, let's get to work here. Andrew G saying the Canucks GM said they're going to add a D-man and make a run at the Cup. Very exciting for Canuck fans. Yeah, it is exciting. All right, we get started. 7 p.m. Eastern. San Jose Sharks 5-15-2, 0-9-0 on the road. 0-9-0. And I said this last night, and I'll say this again, just so we understand the parity of the NHL. The San Jose Sharks have the same amount of regulation wins as the Toronto Maple Leafs. At the Boston Bruins, 14-4-3, 7-1-1 at home. We're at TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. I'm going to say the goalies. If I'm wrong, let me know. Mackenzie Blackwood, 3-9-2, 3.60 goals against average, 902 save percentage, 0 shutouts. Coming off a great performance at home versus the Capitals on Monday night. I believe it was 39 saves, something like that. At Jeremy Swayman, 7-1-2, 2.38 goals against average, 924 save percentage, 1 shutout. San Jose power play 19.7%, penalty killing 73.1%. Not too bad for a horrific hockey team. Boston power play 22.1%, penalty killing at 87.7%. Let's get into the line histories here as well as the injury situation. We'll start with the Bruins injury situation. It's fine. It makes you sad because you see Milan Lucic there, and you know that he got into a domestic, and he's really just a fucking goon, and hopefully we don't see him on the ice anymore. And it's because he couldn't find his cell phone, right? So he was sure his wife stole it.
That's sad. That's
the story. He was sure that she's told the story. So she's like, I don't know where his phone is. He comes home from the bar. I don't know where his phone is. So keep that in mind the next time you lose your phone and you think maybe your girlfriend has it. Prison awaits. That's what awaits for you. Okay, sorry about that. Let's go into the line history here for this one. Ridiculous. The Bruins minus 525. They open up minus 441. It's absolutely ludicrous. But you have an angry Bruins squad. From a total side of things here, we have this at it's down to 5.5, but not a real 5.5. It's juiced to the under 6. And I moved on the under 6. And I was, in touch with my man Slatsy last night about the Kings game. And then, we went back and forth on our action this morning. And this is what Slatsy said after I told him that I moved on the under 6. He said, at Bruins practice, all they worked on was defensive structure. Coach and Marchand both said they have to get back to Bruins defensive hockey. And Nutflush messaged me this morning. He's like, well, the Bruins are going to smash and grab. He's looking at their team total over. And I was like, I just think the under 6 is the best bet on the board. Sharks come in off their second straight win. Injuries are starting to pile up, but they're playing much better hockey. Hurdle may or may not be in the lineup. He wasn't in the lineup for that Capitals game. I mean, if he's not in the lineup, they can only win a game if they hold the opposition to 1 goal. Couture out, Zadina out, Lindblom out, Barabanov out, and Jan Ruta out as well. And Hurdle's their leading scorer. I mean, yeah, he only has 4 goals, but he is their leading scorer with 12 points. The Bruins have lost 3 straight and 4-5. They come in a 5-2 loss at Columbus on Monday night. They're tied for 6th in the league, allowing 2.62 goals per game. But they've allowed 17 over the last 3 games, and that's unacceptable to Jim Montgomery. That he's going to lose his mind if he sees that again. I'm on the under 6. Take it away for us here. Gogster, Sharks, Bruins.
The under's the play. You sold me, Jim. They got a back-to-back tomorrow too against the Devils, the Sharks. So I didn't have the under in my card here, guys. But after that breakdown, Jim, I do agree. Blackwood is 0-6, but he's 1-2-1 the last 5 games, 2.78 goals against 2. And without Hurdle and Ruda, they are, I think, game time decisions, Jim. So we'll see Lindblom too. What's going to happen? But they beat Washington and Vancouver, right? So this team's playing good hockey. And then what you just brought up there was Sladsy and whatnot. This team's lost 3 in a row. I have Boston on a parlay, guys. I'm going to take them in a parlay. I don't see them losing this game, but I think the under is very live here. First period, full game. Maybe Boston in the under. You could even parlay that, guys. I agree on that under, Jim. 90% penalty kill too at home for Boston. Yeah, I agree with the under, but I got Boston on moneyline parlay.
Okay, well, we'll see what you tie Boston in, and I like that you're backing it. But Nate Dogg still thinks it goes over 5-2 Boston. Nice job, DC Capper. We all just destroyed NBA yesterday. It was great work. And shout out to Dutch Boy Fresh for the leadership and guidance. Move on to the next spot on the board. 7 p.m. Eastern. Seattle Kraken 8-10-5, 4-4-4 on the road. Toronto Maple Leafs 11-6-3, 6-4-0 at home. Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, Ontario. Philip Grubauer 5-7-0, 3.42 goals against average, 881 save percentage. No shout out. Samsonov 4-1-3, 3.58 goals against average, 878 save percentage. I mean, I don't like betting these high overs. And here is an over that should be higher. You know, why is there a move towards the under? I don't like needing 7 goals. You know, but here you have Seattle penalty kill at 75%, Toronto power play 24.2%. You know they're going to be live there. Same deal with Toronto's weak penalty killing, 78.8%. Kraken come in off a second straight loss, 4-3 the Blackhawks on Tuesday. Leafs had their 2-game losing streak snapped and a 2-1 victory at home over Florida on Tuesday. Wall is confirmed. Okay, thank you, Billy Friedrich. Wall is confirmed here. Look, I don't know how this game stays under. I do not want to back the Leafs. They're just, you know, they hurt your bankroll at this point, unless they're playing a very good hockey team against weaklings. You don't want them as a big favorite. I don't know why is this move going to the under. Take it away, Gogster. Oh, you're muted, my man.
Sorry, guys. I was eating a banana there. Didn't want it to sound on screen there, but
that's kind of
the issue I think could be with Kraken is the injuries. With the game time decision. Where was it? Right here, line 18. Schwartz and Tanev, Jim. Without Schwartz, that could be a bit of an issue for this team. But last 8 games, they've scored 6+ goals combined in all their games. Seattle, they have been an overtraining team. And I do think Toronto is going to start to score here soon. They haven't really been doing too much offensively, but the Kraken, 18%, you know, that their offense hasn't been what it was last year, Jim. I don't know why, to be honest. Just isn't. I have first period both teams to score a full game over 6.5 written down. I think I did some graded plays here too. I think it's a bit of B grade. Yeah, I'm not too confident in this one, Jim. I don't know. It's with such a big card here. Looking at quick number breakdown, Wall 2-4 at home this year, 869 save percentage. So Wall still, you know, he's coming right out of the AHL, so he's still got some stuff to work on. And then Toronto's injuries, they're missing Giordano, Klingberg, who's been out for a while, and then still Lindgren. So 3 defensive players are out too, and they just called up LaJoy. Maxime LaJoy, I believe. So defensively, I don't think Toronto's at their best here. I will take it, guys. I'm not going to take first period both teams to score. Actually, yeah, I am, Joe. I'm going to take both because I do think Seattle's going to come up strong here in the first. It'd be a little bit. I'd be a little bit worried if Seattle keeps up with Toronto in this game. I think Toronto can score, and then Grubauer. He's 2-2 in his last 5 games, 830 save percentage. He's been really bad. So
do you know we're missing defensive defensemen for the Leafs, but 88% of the tickets are on the over and 96% of the cash, and there's a 10-cent move to the under. And I know we don't let that stuff affect us, but I can't comprehend. This is one of those 6.5s that should be up to -135 and -140. So I'm very confused. By it. Now I try to not get that in my head in NHL, but
I think it's the consistency of the Kraken this year, Jim. They don't score like they used to. Last year, this team was a heavy overtraining team, especially on the road, but they're just not doing it. 18% power play, on the road, which is not good enough. 5-on-5, they're going to have to score. Like I said, it's not my strongest play here, guys. I am going to take it though. I am more of a volume capper on this show, but I just looking at what I look at here, Jim, in the goaltending situation. The one thing with Kraken is I am a little bit worried if the Kraken score enough here. I do think Toronto's going to get the win. Maybe a Toronto team total over and a Toronto Maple Leaf win.
Sammy,
possibly.
The over 6.5, which makes so much sense, is plus money at Pinnacle.
Usually that's a sign to stay off. It really is. I'm stubborn.
If you have
Jim.
conviction, follow through with it. But we got to move on to the next game. But if you have conviction,
I'm gonna do it. Yeah, buddy. I got plus 155 on the, or sorry, plus 150 guys. First period, both teams to score, and then full game over 6.5 minus 115. I'm still gonna take it.
We'll give you plus 101. Obviously, that's what's at Pinnacle right now.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. That's what I had earlier.
It's plus 107 at Bookmaker.
Can you give me that?
Shit, of course. All right, let's move on. That's fishy. Move on to 7 p.m. Eastern. Florida Panthers 13-7-2, 6-4-2 on the road. Montreal Canadiens 10-10-2, 5-6-0 at home. Bell Center in Montreal, Quebec. Watching the hockey game last night, I couldn't believe the Jackets weren't putting the puck in the net. And when you do that, when you have all those opportunities and you don't do it, but those young Russians on the Jackets are really good. Line A is horrible. I don't think Line A is in the NHL next year. Let me go ahead and say that. He's just he has this air of cockiness out there, and he's not good anymore. He doesn't have the quick twitch. He doesn't look good on the power play, and he doesn't hustle defensively. I think that Vincent will keep benching him. Goodrow looked awful last night, but the young Russians look very good. And Montreal is playing, above their heads. I mean, would you think they'd be 10-10-2 at this point in the year? I didn't. And, they stayed in the game, and, they played smart hockey, and they took advantage of mistakes, and they took care of business here. Florida comes in off their third loss in 4 games. So while the Habs were in that tough game against the Jackets, they get on a plane, get back to Canada, and Florida's sitting there champing. Florida's lost 3 of 4 games, so they're not sitting there relaxing. They've lost 3 of 4, and they're coming off that shootout loss at Toronto on Tuesday. We saw what they did to Ottawa when they were arrested and angry. They destroyed Ottawa 5-0. Montreal gets destroyed here. And I'd prefer to be on the -1. It was just too expensive. And I'm on the puck line at plus 115. Let's take a look at this line history here for this one very quickly. On the total side of things, it's a 6.5 juice to the under. We are averaging 6.3 goals per game in the NHL this year. That's the highest in the last 27 years. But the market has adapted to it. And money line here for this one, Florida, Montreal. We have, Florida now at -242. They opened up at -224. They got up to -252 and there was buyback, but Florida just got hammered once again. So an 18-cent move to the Panthers. Slatsy's on the Panthers -1. I'm on the Panthers, a puck line. And Nate Dogg thinking a draw could be in place. The over could be in place. I just don't see how Montreal is going to take care of any. This is a very tough spot against the arrested team that's lost 3 of 4. They're not fat and happy. Take it away, Gogster, Panthers, Canadiens.
Yeah, and just one thing about the line A thing you're talking about. He could be in the player assistance program. I think he might have a little problem there, but that's just my opinion. This game, Jim, it's an A+. This one in the Boston game, guys. Florida's in the money line parlay, no doubt. Coming off a 5-game road trip here for Montreal, and now they got to play their first game back. They might be okay in the first, but as this game goes on, Florida should have won that game against Toronto, Jim. You probably saw that ending, the old double tap on Rodriguez. So this Florida spot, I think it's ripe. Bobrovsky's look good. Home road splits. He's 4-3, 915 save percentage, 924 in the last 5 games. Then you're looking at Caden Primo. He's an AHL special here. 0-2 at home, 867, 898 in the last 5. Yeah, this is a Florida spot. I agree.
Wow. So at Bet365, I still had, I guess I'm signed in, but it still had -225 listed there. And then I clicked to see what the team total was, because I remember thinking of being interested in it. It's moved to -260. I bet 65. So that's 35-cent move. And that team total over 3.5 -140. I should have got on that earlier. Sammy Coleman on Panthers first period -0.5 at plus 128. I'm going to have to keep it like this. Keep it like this. All right, let's roll on to the next spot on the board. And that's just a money line parlay. And you're going to give us that. Is that with the Bruins? But there's more to that.
I got one more. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, let's move on to the next spot on the board. Chicago Blackhawks and Detroit Red Wings. This is a game I want to talk out. Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan. Peter Mrazek versus Alex Lyon. Mrazek is coming back to earth. His save percentage is going to be .892 when the season's over. His goals against average will be 3.48. So it's going to get worse as the season goes on. Alex Lyon has looked spectacular, and it's shocking, but it's good for him, giving him an opportunity. Chicago power play just at 9.2%. Detroit penalty killing 79.5%. And Detroit power play 22.2%. Penalty killing 78.5%. Blackhawks coming off their second win in 3 games, 4-3 at home over the Kraken on Tuesday. I do feel bad for Bedard having to go through this stuff, but he'll learn a lot from all of this, and hopefully he just doesn't care. I don't know if he doesn't care. And you'd think that Taylor Hall would be there now, but Taylor Hall's done for the season. So I hope someone's around him just telling him, just don't care. Who cares? Who cares? You got a hot mom. You feel good about yourself. Who cares? No one believes, it's just a joke. No one really believes that that's the story behind all this. It's just a joke that caught fire. But I don't know how he's handling it. I hope that he's okay. I hope he can find his way through this and become stronger afterwards and not care about the work, because he's a very famous figure and things like this are going to happen. So, but I don't know how he's handling it. The Wings are on the second half of back-to-back after having their 3-game winning streak snapped and 3-2 loss at the Rangers. We went over that hockey team, and I kind of missed out on the under, even though I wanted, but I got the Red Wings team total under. But the Red Wings aren't going to be able to score with this lineup. The problem are the Blackhawks so weak defensively that this game could still go over. So when you see a 6.5 here in a Blackhawks game, and so first off, I got the money line up, so I'll just let you know Detroit minus 192. They opened up at minus 204. I don't know how a Detroit team without Dylan Larkin could be this big of a favorite. It's just, he's so important to them. It's so important to their special teams. I would say that power play goal was all Moritz Seider, and it was a great play coming off defense. I mean, but that wasn't set up or anything like that. This total is juiced to the under at 6.5. It's at minus 112 to the under. Now, it opened up at minus 116 to the under, but offering the plus money on an over 6.5 in a Blackhawks game, the under has got to be the play. It's got to be the spot. Real Video said he ran the numbers. Red Wings second period minus a half looks great. Take it away for us here, a Gogster, a Blackhawks, Red Wings, and Dylan Larkin isn't like hurt badly. He just needed some time. They said. I don't know the situation. I guess he's just banged up, but he's not traveling with the team. Take it away, Gogster.
Yeah, I think it's a couple weeks, and then Larkin, hopefully he's back there. I have Reimer maybe here, Jim. It's the back-to-back for the Red Wings, so Husso was in last night. I do have Reimer. I'll list off his numbers here. He's 1-2-1 at home, 919 save percentage, 903 in his last 5. Hall, Athanasiou, Tenorti, and Blackwell all not going to be in for the Blackhawks here. They're off a solid 3-game homestand too. I have here Jim 2-1, but I think the Red Wings, they lost that game too last night at 3-2. So I'm going to take the Red Wings here. The power play too for the Blackhawks is only 7% on the road. They're not doing anything. And with Bedard, I think he will. I think Bedard just score maybe, or at least his shot prop. I think Bedard's going to not go off, but I think this might have just a little fire under him for what it is. Mrazek, he's been okay, Jim. 3-3, 896 on the road this year. 1-3 in his last few. Hasn't been the greatest. Mrazek. Don't know if there's a lot of upside either with them. So I'm going to take Detroit. It's going to be in the moneyline parlay. This is a B+, not an A, but it's going to be included, Jim. Plus 148, buddy. 3-team parlay.
Yeah, this one makes me nervous. Not that I don't think Detroit will win, but this number is, ludicrous after all the energy they put in against New York last night. Without Larkin. And is there any chance that he could play here?
I thought I saw something like December. They had a December date, I believe, Jim, on his possible return.
They said that he won't be playing in the next 2 games. He's not. That he's taking the next 2 games off. But I wonder if I could. I'm on the under 6.5.
I don't mind that. I don't mind that play. Maybe a Chicago team total under 2.
But if there's let me just go back to this. The quote.
Here we go.
It was quote in the Detroit News. Yeah, he's out the next 2 games. So Lalonde said after practice that he's dealing with a lingering injury. He said will not play Tuesday in New York. That was Wednesday. I don't know why they threw it to. And then unlikely Thursday, and said that he should be available Saturday. He's out Wednesday, and with him not traveling with us, it probably makes him unlikely for Thursday. So All right. He's obviously banged up. Okay, so I'm on the under 6.5, and this is the final part of your 3-game parlay, and that is Bruins, Panthers, Red Wings. And what did that give you?
It was 148.
Plus 148. Plus 148 for Mr. Gogster. And I will be adding the under 6.5 here. Okay, let's move on. Next up, 7 p.m. Eastern, Pittsburgh Penguins 10-10-1, 5-4-1 on the road at Tampa Bay Lightning, 10-8-5, 6-2-3 at home, Amalie Arena in Tampa, Florida. These two old hockey teams banging heads. Nobody cares about you anymore. How about that? Let's get into the line history here for this. We have the 6.5 juice to the over at minus 113. Oh, sorry, that's Seattle Toronto.
Hold on, Jim. Can I just do a little timeout here? There's an arrest warrant for Von Miller. Really? That's crazy. Sorry.
Wow.
That's my guy. There's an arrest warrant I'm seeing here for Von Miller. That's wild.
Wow.
Problems in Buffalo. Sorry, had to.
That's wild. Usually that's breaking news.
I'm seeing. I got ESPN going in the background here, and I just looked, and arrest warrant for Von. Are you kidding me?
Wow. Maybe Jose can find out some more information. Put a little thumbnail together. Let's. Okay, so back here, Jonas Johansson, I have listed. Tristan Jarry, Jonas Johansson. Is that who you have?
I got Vasilevsky. I hope for God it's Vasilevsky, Jim. I think Vasi's going. They had Johannes in the last game against Arizona, I believe.
That makes sense. It should be Vasilevsky. Pittsburgh power play at 12.1%. Great work getting Carlson over there. Brilliant. 86.4% penalty killing. Tampa Bay 32.5% power play, 84.5% penalty killing. I mean, you put Carlson on a power play with a few senior citizens. What do you think is going to happen? It's Penguins coming off their third loss in 4 games, 3-2 overtime setback in Nashville on Tuesday. Lightning coming off their third loss in 4 games, 3-1 Arizona on Tuesday. This is their third game in 4 nights. This is a real tough situation. This is a tough cap, man. Pittsburgh steps up against good teams, and they've gone from plus 121 to plus 115, and they're an angry group. Now Tampa's an angry group as well. I don't really have. This is sort of a coin flip for me. I don't have an edge or angle that I can trust. Take it away.
B plus pick here, guys. This is with Vasilevsky and Jarry, Jim. 4-3 Jarry on the road, 909 save percentage, and overall he's 1-3-1 last 5, 912 save percentage. Anytime you got a save percentage over 9, I don't mind that. I think this is going to be a tighter game. 82%, 81% penalty kills, home road splits. It's the Lightning power play that's been really good at home, 35%. Raquel's out for Pittsburgh. There's a bit of offense there. Joseph day-to-day along with Rudwell. And also looking at Pittsburgh, Jim, 5 of the last 5 have gone under. They've had a really tough schedule I have written down here in the last 2 weeks. They've also had 2 back-to-backs. So they might be a little bit – I think they're running a little low on gas there, Pittsburgh, to be honest. And then bounce back spot here for Tampa Bay. Vasilevsky's rested too. So I'm taking the first period under plus 130 and the full game under 6.5 minus 105 here. Doing a double up.
All right. First, Gogster is in. He's on the first period under 1.5. Was that what? Plus 130?
130. Yep.
130. And the full game under 6.5 was that what?
Minus 105.
Minus 105. All right. You are locked in, Gogster, in that one. I just don't know if there is an edge that I can trust in that one, but I will cheer you on there. Let's move on to the next ball on the board. 7 p.m. Eastern. New Jersey Devils 10-9-1, 5-4-0 on the road. Philadelphia Flyers 11-10-1, 5-6-0 at home. We're at Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Vitek Vanacek going up against Carter Hart here. The Devils coming off that 5-4 victory at home. They've won 2 straight now following that losing streak. Beat Buffalo 7-2, then beat the Islanders 5-4. And they're dealing with injuries. We talked about the forwards, but now Dougie Hamilton. Yeah. And he played just 13 minutes and 25 seconds of that 5-4 victory. Day-to-day with an upper body injury. So, it's an issue for him here. Stimmy OG's on the over. Oh, are you on the over 6.5? And which one? Stimmy, let me know if that was for Pittsburgh or is it for this Devil spot? Yeah. New Jersey power play 36.8%, but the Flyers penalty killing very strong, 84.1%. The Philadelphia power play 9.9%. You want to attack the Devils penalty kill, and you can't with this anemic power play. Let's get into the line history here for this one. Devils, Flyers. Flyers sitting at plus 120. I think that's probably a good number. I guess the plus 135 opening line was a good number. But I think that's probably a good spot for them here. The Devils have not been playing very good hockey. They do have Nico Hischier back, but they haven't. I know they won 2 straight, but they haven't looked that good doing it, and that came off of the losing streak. And the Flyers are strong at home. This total opened up at 6.5. It just dropped to 6 2 minutes ago at Pinnacle. And the Flyers coming up their 3rd loss in 4 games, 4-1 at home over Carolina on Tuesday. This is probably a great spot for them. I didn't realize that till now. Why don't you take it away for us, Mr. Gogster, Devils, Flyers?
Yeah, in the month of November, hey Jim, I have Philly's been better than the Devils, 7-6, 6-3 in their last 9 for the Flyers. So I don't have a play on this one, guys. I really don't. Vanacek, I think it's their goaltending. Like, they have one of the best offenses, Jim, in the league, and that's still without Haula and Myers day to day too. I have here, and Nosek's out. 43% penalty kill on the road. Like, that's lethal. That's why they're never out of a game. Goaltending advantage is in the Flyers' favor here with Hart. And then Noah Cates, he's going to be out for a while. And then also, I'm just seeing here, Jim Stahl, he's going to be out of the lineup. They're bringing in Zumala. So I think this is an under game, really. I kind of agree with the line. I'm not going to play it. It's a C pick. Kind of been doing the grades, as you guys can tell here. Just looking at the lineups for the Flyers, Jim, there's not a lot of offense. Tippett, Frost, and Brink. I think that's their big line. That's their 3rd line. You got Couturier, Konechny, and Forster, Farabee, Lawton, and Atkinson. It's just not a lot of offense here for the Flyers, even though they have been playing well, and Carter Hart's been good at home. So I lean to the unders here. It's not going to make the card, but I wouldn't talk anyone off and under.
I'm going to move on the Flyers. I think this is a good spot for them here. I'll put a couple question marks. This is where I want them. Where I want them. I think that the Flyers are live here. And notice that in that last Devils game, they knew about Hamilton's injury. That's why they dressed 7 defensemen. They probably don't want to dress 7 defensemen. So maybe Hamilton does need the game off, but he's clearly hurting. So, you take him off the power play, you have to use a 5th forward or 4th forward because you're only using Hughes.
Great point.
So, and that, not that should hurt him that much. It's tough backing Philadelphia. I don't think they're as good as their record indicates, and we've done a great job when we faded them, but this is probably the spot.
They just can't, they can't come back, but I don't know if the Devils are going to be able to do what they did the last, few games here. They haven't looked that good. And then their goalie, Jim Vanacek's not. His save percentage, both last 5 games and on the road, is sub 900. And then his goals against is above 3. So, and then looking at Hart, he's 264, 229 last 5 home road splits. So
I think there's enough advantages to back the Flyers at a plus price. I think I will pull the trigger there. Let's move on to the next 2 spots on the board because I moved on both of them. And I think that the Panthers is probably the best spot on the board. But these would be 2nd and 3rd for me. 7:30 p.m. Eastern, New York Islanders 8-7-6, 4-4-2 on the road at Carolina Hurricanes 13-8-0, 7-2-0 at home. PNC Arena, Raleigh, North Carolina. Sorokin, who's looked pretty pedestrian thus far, 5-4-5, 3.10 goals against average, 9-13 save percentage, 2 shutouts against Antti Ranta, 6-3-0.
They're going with the young kid.
Kochekov?
Yeah.
Kochekov? Nice. Okay. Grab Kochekov's numbers for when you talk about the spot. That makes me feel better. Carolina power play 21.1%. New York Islanders power play 22.4%. We haven't seen the Islanders power play over 20% in a long time, and it's Noah Dobson. He's a monster. Penalty killing for both sides is weak, and that is a shock. The Islanders usually have really strong penalty killing. They're coming off their 2nd straight loss 5-4 at the Devils on Tuesday. Hurricanes coming off their 2nd straight win 4-1 at Philly on Tuesday. And the issue here for the Islanders is Sebastian Aho and Adam Pelech. You're missing 2 huge parts of your defense, and this is a team that's based upon defense. And you're a fade now. You're a fade every chance I can get. I'm going to fade the Islanders until these guys come back. Svechnikov is sick. I hope that he's good to go. Maybe Billy Friedrich can let us know if that is the case. But I took the Carolina Panthers on the -1 line. I got -120. It was a spot that I really liked. I'm going to try to fade the Islanders as much as possible. If they want to get in high-scoring games, I mean, it's just not the way they're supposed to play. This under 6 opened up at -107. It's now at -116. I will not take the Islanders to expect them to play well defensively, missing 2 of their top 4 defensemen. And then the Carolina Panthers right now at -200. They opened up at -191, so a 9-cent move towards them. There was an initial move towards the Islanders. Take it away for us here, Gogster. I'm on Carolina -1 at -120. Islanders, Hurricanes.
Yeah, with the change in goaltending, Jim, I did a bit of a switch in my plays here. Paitor, he's been really good. That's Kochetkov. Or Kochetkov, as I like to call him, 929 save percentage last 5 games, 173 goals against. This guy's he's a great Russian goalie. He's like a poor man's, I like to call, maybe not a poor man's, but he's very similar in that like Igor Shesterkin, Jim. I think he's 6'3". They have him listed too, maybe even a little bit bigger than Igor, but this guy's got some upside. Quick look at how he's been at home. 887, so but still 266 goals against. So he's not going to allow those 3-4 goals on a nightly basis here. And then the Islanders, Jim, they haven't looked good defensively, which kind of makes me a little bit nervous taking this under. But 6 of the last 7 games had they been a 1-goal difference. So they're playing good. They're not letting teams run up the score on them. And then Sorokin, I know he is 1-3-1 on the road, 889 save percentage, but he's 2-1-2 in his last 5, 921. He's got upside for sure. I know they're missing those defensemen, but and then Svechnikov coming back. They got some offense too for Carolina. I'm still going to take it. I'll just stick to the first period here, though. It's going to be plus 108, Jim. First period under 1.5. I like the goaltending here. I could take the full game and double up, but I'm not. I do think this stays low. I think the goaltenders shine here. I'd be surprised if
Varlamov is confirmed now. That's a good thing.
Oh, Varlamov's in. Okay,
better.
Yeah. I did want Sorokin, Jim. I'm gonna cross it off. I think Carolina's gonna win this game. I kind of agree with you here. I wanted Sorokin there, but Carolina's -200. I'm seeing. I'm going to be off this game. That's going to be a no play for me. Just too many changes going on here, Jim. But I lean to Carolina now.
Mikey says something he's noticed when the goalie likely to start gets swapped out, the team ends up winning. I don't know what to make of that. I wonder if I would need some time to think on that. Off top, I don't know much about that. But Matty Ice says definitely bring a buzz around here. Matty Ice also, the taint play today is in. We'll talk about it in college basketball, but he's talking about Patty Kane over to the Red Wings.
That's right.
I don't think it's going to work. I don't think he's going to be a good player this year. I don't think he's going to be useful. Yeah. But if he can score maybe a couple power play goals early and build some excitement in Detroit. Yzerman's not an idiot, so he's obviously watched Kane very closely. But I wouldn't have made the move personally. But maybe you need a little spark.
Hip surgery.
Yeah, he's an old dude. Let's roll on to the next ball on the board because one I love: Buffalo Sabres, St. Louis Blues, Enterprise Center, St. Louis, Missouri. We need to bet the Blues at home against average hockey teams as much as possible. We had them at this same number against the Coyotes. That made no sense. They were a pick 'em against the Coyotes. Nobody's respecting the St. Louis Blues team, and at home, they're bet on. They're coming off their second loss in 3 games, 3-1 at Minnesota on Tuesday. It was Hines' first game with Minnesota. We know how that goes. Sabres coming off their second win in 3 games, 5-1 at the Rangers on Monday, riding high. Still no Tage Thompson. And look, Luokkanen's played very well. So I've got Luokkanen, Binnington. Binnington starting to come back to earth. I told you that St. Louis power play that was at 4.7, 2.6, at one point, and 4.7 now, 9.2. It'll get up to 17 or 18%. It should be a power play that's over 20%. I bet you, since I started talking about it, and for the rest of the year, it's a power play that will be play at over 20%. Barely, but over 20%. They just have too much skill on it. So I moved on to Blues, and I took a -1 at plus 150. I wanted to score, and so I went after it. Let's get after the line history here in this one. We have the Blues sitting at just -122. They opened up at -115. So, this line's moving in their direction. I could have taken them on the money line. Tomorrow is my in-out day with my local. So, there's a couple spots that I want to attack and get paid out, and this is one of them. And I'm on the Blues here. Take it away, Gogster. Sabres, Blues.
Yeah, this is surprisingly a better goal. The goaltending here, Jim. Binnington at home and Luke Kokkonen on the road, guys. They're 917, 935 save percentage. I don't know how long that's going to hold up for Luke Kokkonen. Tage Thompson and Jack Quinn, he's out, and then Gergensen, he's also out for the Sabres. I agree with that power play. I have 4% here at home for the Blues. 82% penalty kill for Buffalo guys on the road. So they have been pretty good stopping teams when they are down a man. They have not won back-to-back, though, since November 1st I have here, Jim, the Sabres. So they haven't been able to put wins together. They also sent down Devon Levy. He's coming to Belleville tomorrow. I'm gonna catch him, Jim. He's now down with the Rochester Amerks. So this team's – they're going to ride Luke Kokkonen for the foreseeable future until Levy's better. I kind of lean to the under here, but it's not going to make my card. I also have weak opposition in the last 2 weeks for the Blues. They beat Minnesota, Chicago, Nashville, Arizona, Anaheim. I know Buffalo's not they're no world beaters, but I don't know who's going to win this game. I think it's a toss up. I lean to the under. It's not going to make the card, guys, but it's a tough one. This is a tough one. I'd stay off this game. 10 football, as we used to say.
I would say for risk reward, the Blues is my second favorite spot on the board here today. And that's even on the money line. That's not even on the -1. On the -1 line, I still think the Panthers are probably a slam dunk, though. But I love this spot. Deshaun G on Neighbors, anytime goal plus 480. I love the spot. Buffalo off a 5-1 win. St. Louis off the loss in the Heinz first game. And St. Louis 6-3-0 at Enterprise Center. They should not be at this line. They should be a bigger favorite than they are right now. So we'll see how it all bangs out. Londos is always back. My hometown Blues. I'm glad you're with me, Jimmy. Yeah, Londo, let's get that cash. Noah, Justin, I got 46 flat, man. I got this on Monday, the over 46, and I got the first half over 23 flat. I was right. I'm happy that the line's moving in my direction. But let's move on to the next ball on the board and get into NFL here. 8 p.m. Eastern, Minnesota Wild 6-10-4, 2-6-2 on the road. Nashville Predators 11-10-0, 8-4-0 at home. Bridgestone Arena, Nashville, Tennessee. UC Saros needs to step up. I expect them to start playing better and better as the season goes on. Marc-Andre Fleury is listed. I don't know if he'll be in 3-4-2, 3.46 goals against average, 875 save percentage. He's been terrible. Minnesota now has Hines. John Hines is their new coach. They get that 3-on win with him. I do not want to fade Minnesota Wild, but I like Nashville. You guys know I'm on there over 87.5 point win total. I don't know if I'm going to get there, but Luke Schen's back now. That's important. But he's only playing 10 or 11 minutes a game. Maybe that's all you want him for, but I think you need to play him more as it goes on. He's so tough. I mean, he's one of the toughest guys in the NHL, and I'm watching this team very closely, very, very closely. So, take it away for us here, Gogster. Predators. Oh, I didn't give the line history. I apologize. Let me quickly give the line history. I do not want to. I don't think there's going to be any value fading Nashville personally, but I do not. The Hines being in makes it tricky. -117. It opened at now. It's at -122. Maybe we take a look at the total because you know that the Wild are going to be playing much more attentive defensively. It's at 6 -105 to the under. It opened 110 to the under. Take it away, Gogster.
Yeah, I don't mind that underlook. Hartman's also out, guys, for Minnesota. Got suspended, I believe, 2 games for a little slew foot on I forget who it was, but a nice little slew foot from Hartman. Nice job, bud. Saros 6-4, 899 save percentage at home, 900 pretty much. Glass out. Novak won 6 in a row, scoring 3+. Nashville. I got nothing on this game. Just kind of want to give the breakdown for you guys there. Penalty kill is pretty poor for the Wild, but that's pretty much with the previous coach there. I lean to the under with you here, Jim. It's not going to make my card. Too many question marks, too many moving parts, I think.
The under is probably great here.
Could be.
I didn't was not on my radar really, but it's probably great because you know that the Wild are playing so accountable. You also have 67% of tickets and 82% of cash on the over. Why would so many people be on the over anyways? I mean, the line's not moving, so we know that it's a fine spot. We're almost at NFL. We got just a few more games left here in NHL, but why would anybody, the last 2 games Predators played were unders. The last 4 of the last 5 Wild games were unders, and all,
Preds have been scoring 3+ goals in each game. They lost all these 6 wins, Jim. They're scoring goals, but that can change.
Okay, I'm gonna put question marks beside the under. I do have interest in it. Okay, let's roll on. Next up for us, we have the spreadsheet play of the day from our Ron Crawford. He's on the Winnipeg Jets. Edmonton Oilers at Winnipeg Jets, Canada Life Center in Winnipeg, Manitoba. And shout out to our guy, Ron Crawford. Bankroll Spence says refused to believe the coaching change is really going to change wild much. Oh yeah, I feel that, Bankroll, but when it changes for a couple weeks. I mean, that's just that. But I don't know if we're going to do it for the whole time. Billy Friedrich adding wild team total under 2.5 at plus 120. I'm very interested in that under. Oilers, Jets, Canada Life Center, Winnipeg, Manitoba. Stuart Skinner versus Connor Hellebuck. Skinner 7.71, 3.31 goals against average, 8.76 save percentage. He's been terrible. Hellebuck 2.61 goals against average, 9.08 save percentage. He's been strong. Edmonton power play at 26%. I told you guys when their power play was at 22% that we should just start betting overs on the Oilers because their power play is going to end up at 35%. It's just too good. There's too much skill out there. And the Winnipeg penalty killing is not being strong, 73.9% here. So the Oilers come in off their third straight win, a 5-4 shootout victory at home over Vegas on Tuesday night. Winnipeg comes in off their second straight loss, a 2-0 home loss to the Stars on Tuesday night. And, I do not want to fade Edmonton right now. And I found this game, really quite difficult. From a total standpoint here, this is at 6.5, a juice to the over. It's minus 114 to the over. It opened up at minus 128 to the over, so we have a 14-cent move to the under. And then from a money line standpoint here, we have Winnipeg at plus 104. I can really understand why this would be the spreadsheet play today. I can really understand why the Jets, would look like they have value here at the plus price. But there's 11 or 12,000 fans at these hockey games. I mean, the home arena just doesn't hold as much clout. They're just 6-4-1 there. Take it away for us here, Gogster, Oilers, Jets.
What do you think? If that's because of the cost of living? I know the cost of living's went up, Jim. You think that's the big reason, cost of living up in Winnipeg?
Look, I don't want to say bad things about Winnipeg, but I don't know if they're financially capable of having a major sports team in that city. I just don't know if there's enough cash.
I remember them, the whiteout, they in the playoffs, like past years, I thought they were doing well, but I guess it's kind of flipped here. And this other team, it's tough to fade this. This is hot oil right now. It's hot off the pan. Hyman's going to be out, though, Jim. I'm seeing her not out, but day-to-day at least. So that hurts the offense a little bit for the Oilers, but their top 2 players are humming again. 25% power play, 75% penalty kill. Oh, got a little alarm there. Sorry, guys. The Jets, though, 15%. One thing about Ronnie, just to bring up for your play of the day here, Kapari Velarde's day-to-day. Kapari's going to be out, 15% power play. But the issue with the Oilers, guys, everyone knows it. It's the goaltending. Skinner's, he's bad. 864 save percentage last 5 games. On the road, 845, Jim. And he's allowing an average of 4 goals. It's just, and you're going up against here, Hellebuck. He's 4-1, 940 save percentage last 5 games. And he is 889 at home. This is more of a play of me trusting what the Oilers can do here in their top players. Hellebuck, he stopped 38 pucks to 40 versus Edmonton this year in a win. So Edmonton, it's not like I'm really high on this Winnipeg defense either, Jim. So I think there's going to be goals again, man. I know Hellebuck looked really good in his last few games. They got shut out or only had 1 goal against Dallas, but I think it's going to be a lot for this Oil team, even without Hyman. I'm going to take, I had written down originally, guys, was Winnipeg and over 5.5 parlay, but I'm going to go first period, both teams to score in the full game over 6.5. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if the Oilers sneak one out here somehow. Actually, you know what, Jim? That's high juice. That's high juice on that over 6.5, minus 132. I'm just going to take the first period, guys. Both teams to score plus 140. That's going to be my luck here.
I don't remember it being that expensive, so I'm going to just look at what Pinnacle has.
Did it go down? Okay, that was my last. That's what it was last night.
Minus 114.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, money's coming in on the under. The no Hyman angle. I'm just going to stick to the first period, Jim. I'm going to go first period, both teams to score plus 140, brother.
Plus 145 first period. Both teams to score. Ron Crawford spreadsheet play of the day on Winnipeg. Let's move on to 9 p.m. Eastern. Dallas Stars 13-5-2, 8-1-1 on the road. The Calgary Flames 9-10-3, 4-3-1 at home. Scotiabank Saddledome, Calgary, Alberta. A wonderful opportunity to back the Dallas Stars on the -1 line. They're coming off a 2-0 win at Winnipeg on Tuesday night. That's not the best case scenario, but they just lost to these Flames at home on Friday night badly. They lose 7-4. It's embarrassing. This shit-ass Flames team putting up 7 goals on them. They're going to come back and be an angry group against the Flames. This is, I think the Flames are a bad hockey team, but at home, how often are we going to want to fade them? I think we'll want to fade them when against bad teams, not against good teams. But here, I just think Stars smash back. And I took the Stars on the -1 line. Right now, the money line opened up with the Stars -135, now -130. I don't care that there hasn't been a move towards them. And from a total standpoint here, the Stars are playing pretty good defensive hockey, and this is at a 6, and it's juice to the over. This opened up more juice to the over. It's come back 4 cents. I guess that under is pretty interesting, especially after that 7-4 spot. Yep. Coin saying Edmonton is a 73% spot tonight for them. Wow. And Mike saying Calgary's been on a run in recent times. Yeah, I don't care. Look, they're playing better. You're absolutely right, but they smashed Dallas in Dallas on Friday night, and Dallas is going to come get their revenge now. Take it away, Gogster.
Yeah, the issue I have with the Flames guys, they win, lose. Since against Vancouver, they beat Vancouver, lose to the Islanders, win against Seattle, lose to Nashville, win against Dallas, lose to Colorado, win against Vegas. Here comes the loss. If you want to follow trends like that. But looking at this game, Jimmy, I agree 100% though with the fact that this team, they looked really good against Winnipeg. You got one of the best goalies on the road, Ottinger, 6-1-1, 942 save percentage, 1.87 goals against. No one's out. They got Tanev day-to-day for Calgary, 94% penalty kill, 85% too for Calgary. It's going to be a lower scoring game too, and Dallas is going to win. So I went a little safe here, as our guy Loshak likes to say. Dallas money line, Jim, in the under 7.5 plus 130. I like this one. It's probably an A1, at least B+.
Because I'm interested in the under, so I can understand what you are doing here. Gogster, you're on Stars and under 7.5, and that came out to plus 130.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I kind of like what you're doing here. I'm gonna stay off of this. I want to keep it clean. I'm gonna stay off the under, just to keep it clean. But
Markstrom's look good. He's 901 at home, 293 goals against, and then 297 in the last 5. So I don't mind the way Markstrom's been playing either. But
yeah, and if you go through the Stars road games, I know they're 8-1-1, but they just play such a clean, smart defensive style. So in their road games, 1 under, 2 unders, 3 unders, 2 overs. So 4-2 to the under, 4-3.
And think of this:
5-3, 5-4.
And think of this, Jim. Was Ottinger, if he's going to be in net, he's like 942, 1.87. Pretty much all of Ottinger's games have almost gone under. Maybe one has gone over, but his numbers scream under too. Especially team total for Calgary could be another look. Team total under for Calgary
could be another look, but I think, and they just played an 11-goal game. This game goes under, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay. Okay, I expect to add the under 6 now on this card. Okay, let's move on. 9 p.m. Eastern, Colorado Avalanche 15-6-0, 7-4-0 on the road. Arizona Coyotes 10-9-2, 5-4-0 at home. Mullet Arena in Tempe, Arizona. Karel Vejmelka not playing very well. He doesn't have a great defense in front of him, but 2-6-2, 3.45 goals against, average 8.92 save percentage. Georgiev needs to step up. 8.98 save percentage, not going to cut it, especially when you have this Avalanche defense in front of you. And too bad Sammy Girard is had some trouble with the bottle. Good young kid. I hope he can find his way through the drink. We have the Avs coming off the 4 straight win, 4-1 at home over Lightning on Monday night. They've outscored their opponents 15-6 over the last 4 games. Coyotes coming off their 2nd straight win, 3-1 at home over the Lightning on Tuesday. Let's take a look at the line history here on this one. Sitting at 6.5 to the under, -115. This opened up at -118. There's really been no change here. I'd like to fade the Coyotes as much as possible. I think that the market believes they're better than they actually are here, but it's tough. You want to take and it's Mullet Arena sucks. And this is probably a fair line. Colorado -200. I don't really see an advantage here. Take it away for us, Gogster. Coyotes coming off their second straight win, 3-1 home over Lightning on Tuesday. Take it away.
The weird angle here, Jim, just with Arizona and that home barn, being that's like such a small barn, it's kind of, I think, advantage a bit for Arizona because of these teams coming into like a small, like it reminds me of Belleville here. Like these teams come into Belleville thinking, it's nothing. We were good at least. And then we would thrive in that little small 3,000, 4,000 arena. So, and you got guys like this, Matias Michelli, or not Michelli, sorry. Where is he? Michael Carconi. He was also Jim in Belleville for a while, but he's made his way in the NHL now. Like this guy, they got a lot of players that are just hard working team. This team is not an easy team to play against. 2 really impressive wins, 2 against Tampa Bay and Vegas, 5 goals for, 1 against. That's impressive. And it's been because of Ingram. 3-2, 940 save percentage last 5, 925 at home. If it's Ingram, Jim, and Gorgiev, I'm going to take an under. I'm not going to do it if it's Vejmelka though. Like Vejmelka, he's got to go back on the shelf there. He's not right. But Ingram, this another guy who's really worked his way up through the rankings. Him and Gorgiev, I could see an under here. But until that, 90% penalty kill too for the Colorado on the road, and then 80% for Arizona at home. I think this could be an under. Won 7 of the last 8 games too. Colorado playing good hockey. So I got to see the goalies first though.
Yeah, I find it tough, but tricky. I think that it's lined pretty tight. Let's move on. 10 p.m. Eastern, second to last game before we get into NFL. 10 p.m. Eastern, Vegas Golden Knights 14-5-4, 6-3-3 on the road at Vancouver Canucks, 15-7-1, 8-1-1 at home at Rogers Arena, Vancouver, BC. Aiden Hill 9-2-2, 1.96 goals against average, 933 save percentage, and 2 shutouts. For all the teams that have had horrible goaltending over the last few years, like the Oilers, can you believe this was their fourth string goaltender? I mean, take a look at who's your in your scouts. And fire them. Thatcher Demko, 11-5-0, 2.10 goals against average, 928 save percentage, 2 shutouts. Vegas power play, 20.7%, penalty killing, 85.7%. Vancouver power play, 29.8%, penalty killing, 76.4%. So this is a pretty interesting spot, man. My dad watches this team every second of their games, every second. And he sent just 200, not 300 like he did with the Rays, but 200 on the Vegas Knights at plus 105. They're now plus 111. And so why would someone who watches this team every single time play who's been betting very square? And that's because he thinks they're not playing very good hockey. And you know, it's not because he studied what Vegas is doing. He has a vividness bias of the Vegas Golden Knights, and he thinks the Canucks aren't playing very good hockey. They just came off their second win in 3 games, 3-1 at home over Anaheim on Tuesday. An Anaheim team that's lost 7 straight games. So you have to figure out. So what would someone like my dad be thinking? You know, I have to figure that out, and then you know, decide. Well, I'm not going to send it anyways. I wouldn't send it anyways if it was sharp. But if it was a look that I liked, I would. You know, I'd want to be with them. But that's the situation here. Slatsy says Theodore and Martinez being out is a big hit on the back end for Vegas. So you know, I'm not going to move on this game. I'm just not going to send my dad's action in. Take it away, Gogster, Knights, Canucks.
Something my dad's never done. Never said, hey, Eric, go, can you get a bet on Toronto? Dad never do that. Even though he's played the game, he never gambles. But Vegas, guys, they're in an awful spot, Jim. Look at the schedule. I think it could maybe be because of the F1, just thinking top of my head. Since November 14th, they've been on the road 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is their 8th road game. And they've had 1 home game in the middle of that, November 25th, and they lost against Arizona. So this is their last game. It's like looking at the schedule, like I don't know, like they're in tough here, I think, Vegas, and then they're coming off that loss, Vancouver. I get why your dad's kind of on against Vancouver because they haven't been playing the best, but the spot for Vegas is not good. Now, the only upside maybe is Hill going to be going here. I had Hill written down, Jimmy, and he's been pretty damn good this year. So I kind of lean to the under, but again, like Slatsy in the chat, I believe it was Slatsy said Theodore Martinez are also out. So that hurts their back end. They're not too deep on defense there. Mikheyev, he's day-to-day I have here for Vancouver. So a bit of offense possibly gone there. I actually have written down here B-. Vegas team total under 3.5, Jim, and Vancouver money line plus 110. You know what? I'll take it. I don't see Vancouver losing. It's a bad spot for Vegas. And you got Demko, who's going to be in net here too. He was off last game, right, Jim? He's 8-1 with a .955 save percentage at home, 129 goals against. Are you kidding me? Like, I don't know if that's going to hold up, but like Demko was top 5 goalie in this league, and you got a team in Vegas that's just bad spot, missing 2 defensemen too. I'll take it. Vegas team total under 3.5. Vancouver money line plus 110.
Oh, so that's together.
Yeah, it's like a same game parlay. I got a couple of those.
Yeah. Okay.
Today.
Plus 110. All right. I like it. I'm not going to double down. I'm not gonna make it official. I'm not gonna bet. I'm just not gonna send in my dad's action and cheer for the Knuckleheads tonight. Let's move on to the final spot on the board. 10 p.m. Eastern. Washington Capitals 10-6-2, 3-2-1 on the road. Anaheim Ducks 9-13-0, 4-8-0 at home. Honda Center in Anaheim, California. Darcy Kemper going up against John Gibson. Look, Capitals got outshot 39-15 last night. They're not a good hockey team. They need to be faded. That Manta goal was beautiful. You know
that tells me, Jim, Charlie Lindgren won that game for them.
Charlie Lindgren was so good.
Yeah.
But they were very fortunate that Kopitar goal was called back because of an offside 2 minutes earlier. Oh, God. That's just so horrible. But I've wanted to bet the Ducks since the game ended. And I was like, I talked to Slatsy about it. Slatsy has just moved on them while the show's been going on. Doesn't this remind you of the spot for the Columbus Blue Jackets when we backed them? And in that spot, we had to back them on the -1 line. They'd lost 9 straight hockey games. They were big favorites. We backed them on the -1 line. I think it was against Detroit. Was it against Detroit? And they won 7-2. Now, I don't think the Ducks are going to win 7-2, but I'm going to move on the Anaheim Ducks. That's what I'm going to do. And I just needed to talk it out a little bit first. Washington power play 5.7. I was kind of hoping that Zegras would be back. It doesn't look like he's going to be back. The Ducks played pretty well in that 3-1 win at Vancouver on Tuesday. And Washington's an old hockey team, and they're playing quite well. They're with for their skill set. This is a spot that I can't go without. Now it means I'm going to be watching hockey till 1:30 in the morning, and then won't be able to sleep until 3 in the morning, 3:30 in the morning, because my heart's beating through my chest. But whatever, it's the life of a gambler. I'm going to be on the Ducks. What are you doing here, Gogster?
Yeah, the back-to-back hurts. The one thing I was thinking, Jim, about this, the thing with Kemper here, if Lindgren's going to be playing this well, you always know just with goalies, the goaltender battle could be coming into play here with Kemper and Lindgren here. Now, Kemper hasn't looked that good. 0-2-1 on the road, 863 save percentage, 369 goals against. Oshie's out, Backstrom's out. The more I'm thinking about this, Jim, Gibson, he hasn't been good. He hasn't had any wins, but he's got a 914 save percentage at home, 261 goals against. And Lyubushkin, Gudas, Zegras, Drysdale, all game time decisions are day-to-day. A lot of question marks. I kind of lean to the under more so in this game. I think this is going to be a slow, lower scoring game. I think the goalies are going to, Kemper hasn't looked that good, but I think the angle with Lindgren playing well, Kemper's got a little fire under him now. So we'll see what happens. The teams on a back-to-back should be slow. I think the under could be the play here.
I think the under could be the play as well. It's not move. It opened at over 6 -117. It's now -114. I mean, the Caps aren't going to score many goals. It's just, could the Ducks explode offensively?
I think Kemper's going to have a good game too.
Yeah, right. I mean, he better. This is our final game. NFL is next, and I love the game. I love the game from a betting aspect, although the line's been moving pretty quickly in that one. But let's just take one last look at. The Capitals can't
play
score.
This, Jim. I'm going to do it. I got to do it. I'm going to take the first period under 1.5, and I'll take the full game under 6. I'm doubling up.
First period under 1.5 and the full game under 6. I think I join you on the full game. What's the under 1.5?
I just kind of set it out of my ass here, so I don't have the number.
Grab it. I'll do a quick review of all of our action here, but I think that the under 6 should be played as well. Okay, let's review all action here. NHL card locked in. We have no. Oh, I'm on the under 6. Sorry, I don't have my. Didn't write it in on the game by game. I'm on the under 6 in Sharks Bruins. That's the start of a 3-game parlay for Gogster. Gogster's on first period. Both teams to score in full game over 6.5 in Seattle, Toronto. Very fishy situation there. I'm on the Panthers. A puck line at +115. I'm on the I'm going to be on the under 6.5 in Chicago, Detroit. Gogster's 3-team parlay: Bruins, Panthers, Red Wings plus 148. Gogster's on the first period under 1.5 and plus 130 in Pittsburgh, Tampa, and the under 6.5 minus 105. I'm going to add the Flyers to my action. I'm already on Carolina -1, and I'm on St. Louis -1 at plus 150. The under, I have some interest in Minnesota, Nashville. Gogster's on the first period. Both teams have scored in Edmonton, Winnipeg, and the spreadsheet play today is the Winnipeg Jets plus 106. I'm already on the Stars -1. I expect to add the under 6. A lot of unders here with the highest scoring season in 27 years. Gogster is on a same game parlay: Stars in the under 7.5 at plus 130. We're off Colorado, Arizona. Gogster's on the Knights team total under 3.5 and the Canucks money line. That's at plus 110. Of course, I'm not sending in my dad's action on the Vegas Golden Knights. And then I'm adding the Ducks in the under 6. And Gogster, what did you get for the first period under 1.5?
I got plus 115 and then 102 on the under 6.5.
Plus 102. All right, you are locked in.
Love it.
Okay. There we go. That's the NHL. Much love to you, all of you NHL fans who are just here for the NHL. Respect and love. Thank you for being here. Let's get into NFL, Mr. Gogster. Let's get into NFL. I have had back-to-back losing weeks, and I'm at my low water mark of the season, 72, 50%. Down 7.27 units with ROI minus 5.05%. And those spots for Gogster are just here on Thursdays on our show. They're not part of his NFL Pub Hub. I came in with all 8 bets already made on NFL Pub Hub. This is the most important week of the season. Every week becomes the most important week of the season, but this really, really is for me. And I came in guns a-blazing on the over. I got the, and I don't care. Look, sometimes you gotta, if you have conviction, to go up against the trend, and I did that here. I got this first half over 23 and the full game over 46, and that's at regular VIG. That first half over 23 at minus 111, and the full game over 46 at minus 109. Of course, Mikey will be hosting. Mikey M, Star the Pimp Slot Play. They will be hosting our live stream right here for this great football game between the Seahawks and the Dallas Cowboys. All right, let's get into the line history here for this one. I'm very curious to see what it is as well. And I really like this spot. We'll talk about the and it really revolves around the Seahawks for me, not as much the Cowboys. But first off, this opened up at minus 7.5 and it's now minus 9. So a move towards the Cowboys. From a total scenario over at Pinnacle, it's come back a little bit. It's 47.5 across the board. This opened up at 46 and it was there for a little while. The 47 has got juiced at Pinnacle up to the point where it was minus 119 yesterday at 7 p.m. So it was 7.5 everywhere else. Still 7.5 everywhere else. 47.5. But if you want a 47, you can get that at Pinnacle at minus 112. Let's go over to the cash flow then for this spot here. And we have 82% of tickets and 82% of cash on the Cowboys. And from a total perspective, we have 47% of the tickets and 74% cash on the under. Big bets on the under. So there's a couple things that I had to find a way to explain that I don't need my notes for. And then I'll bring up my notes and all that. But first off, why would there be so many big bets on the under? Because I have to find an angle to be able to explain it, to be able to confidently go up against this trend. And I thought, well, everybody's been making so much money on the unders, they just bet it right away. Really, a lot, not everybody. That's not unfair to paint everybody with the same brush, but that a whole bunch of cappers would just be, look how much money I'm up. I know that this market's going to move to the under, so I'm going to bet it as soon as it comes out. I'm bet it big because I'm paying my mortgage on these primetime unders, and I don't care. I don't even need a cap it. I know it's just going to go under. So that's how I kind of explained it. Then why would I think that the Seahawks would be able to help out with this total? And it's because of watching the Packers game. The Packers started out that game on Thursday with that 52-year-old bomb. 52-year-old bomb. Sorry. 52-year-old bomb. Jeez, what the hell's wrong with me? What did I got in my mind?
I don't want to know.
Man. If it was 76-year-old bomb, I'd be talking about thinking about Dolly Parton, but 52-year-old. So there's 52-year-old bomb. I think that they're going to come, their offense, they're going to try to ignite the offense immediately. I think they're going to really, really push offensively. In the game against the 49ers, they had 15 total yards in their first 5 possessions. I think they go for deep bombs immediately and won't start out slow. And look, the biggest parts here, and I won't go over everything that I have on the video that's up right now, but the biggest parts here for me are the Seahawks offensively and defensively. That's the biggest key to this game, because we know the Cowboys are going to deliver offensively and defensively. And if Geno Smith and the Seahawks are forced to go blow for blow, that there'll be opportunities for interceptions and pick sixes and things of that nature. But here with Seattle, they've scored 3 offensive touchdowns in the past 4 games and 1 over their last 8 quarters. They have to do something to stop that. They know that they have to score points in this football game, and I believe that they'll go for it. They're on third down, they're 27th in the league, so they're going to have to go for big plays. That's offensively. And then they're 29th in the league on third downs. So they're going to have to go for big plays. And they're 25th in the league in red zone offense. They're bad there. So I really expect DK Metcalf and Lockett going deep. And then defensively, they're 27th in the league on third down conversions, and they're horrible in the red zone defensively, 66.7%. So you know that Dak and the Cowboys are so good in the red zone right now, and that they'll be rolling. Right now, they're second in the over the past 3 games, they're second in the league in red zone offense, second in the league, 54.4%. Now, their overall stats aren't quite as good, and they would be up against weak competition, but now they're up against another weak red zone defense. And then the red zone defense for the Cowboys has struggled. They're 22nd in the league. They can be vulnerable there. They're on third down, they're phenomenal. But there you go. I'm on the first half over 23 and the full game over 46, and it means a lot. Take it away, Gogster, your plan of attack here.
So I'm just kind of off your breakdown there, Jim. I think I'm gonna add. What do you think of this? Geno Smith, longest pass completion over 35.5. minus 115. That's something I think I'm going to add there. Just based on the fact. Again? Geno Smith, his longest pass completion. So, so what? That can just to confirm this. So pass completion, that can be what he throws a dink and dunk that's 5 yards, but the guy gets 40 out of it. Yeah. That would hit, right? So I think with the lack of red zone and the big plays, they need to start using their big plays. The receivers they have on the ends, I think that's where they're going to have to big play. I think it's
what was that number?
Minus 115, 35.5.
Over 3. Okay, keep rolling.
And I think this is going to be similar, guys, to that. Remember Detroit when they went into Detroit? It was like 37-31 for Seattle. They beat them. And this is another dome game. Surprisingly, Seattle has not been that bad in the domes. They did lose to the Rams. I think it was 17-16. But for the most part, this team doesn't get blown out. They're going to go for the big play offense, I think. And I agree with your over, Jim. I'm going to do the old same game parlay. So we got longest completion, Geno Smith over 35.5 minus, 115. And then I'm going to take the Seattle plus 14.5. So just in case somehow they get blown out, plus 14.5. And then the over 40.5, Jim, at minus 110. I have a hard time seeing this. Not both teams scoring at least 14 at least. And then from there, I think we're just going to have a high-powered game, because another thing is the injury to their running back, their key guy, that's their red zone guy. So I think it's going to be a lot of big plays from the Seattle team.
Pete Carroll expected Kenneth Walker to play tonight.
Oh, is he going to be in? I saw doubtful.
Let me just get the final information. But he said on the weekend, okay, no, he's doubtful.
Yeah.
They've got him doubtful. Okay. Doubtful.
So that makes me think, the big plays are going to be live, Jim. I think they're going to be live here for Geno. And then their defense on the other side, Leonard Williams, tight end, Drake Young's out. I like the over. Sorry?
Something here, LJ mentioned on Geno Smith over a half interception, and Billy Friedrich saying Charbonnet looks good. Charbonnet's got to step up in this game. 47 yards rushing in back-to-back games. Yeah, that's in 29 combined carries. And over those 2 games, his long run, 11 yards. That's not enough. It's going
to make Geno and the boys throw the ball. It's going to make them have to throw it. So
your same game parlay has nothing to do with your longest reception.
No, yeah, that's separate. That's completely separate. I just, as kind of capping the capper, as our guy Low Check likes to say, Jim. I like the over 35.5 for Geno.
I like it. And you have the Seahawks plus 14.5 and the over 40.5 SGP. We got some great stuff coming in from the chat. We have Von Polo on Lockett and Lamb anytime touchdowns. Bo Jackson saying Pete Carroll 4-1 on Thursdays on the road. Justin McElvey has a $100 free bet. He's putting that on Seahawks plus 330. Coin saying Seattle's number 1 in penalty yards in the league. Hidden yardage that can come into play or extend or reduce drives. Troy gave us that great database trend that I was hoping someone would find for me. When the sharp action's on the under with 30 to 60% splits and the market moves to the over, 5-1 to the over. Torrey Coker liking Seattle to cover the 9.5. DC Capper on Dallas first half. And RVD 420 says first half over, but full game under for RVD. Ricky Bobby on Gallup over 16.5 yards receiving here. And Kong's Clip says Dallas by 28. Billy Friedrich says Cowboys due to lay an egg. Much love to you, DC Capper. Justin McElvey over 47. Prescott interceptions. Fant anytime touchdown plus 450. He's on Lockett over 49.5. Big. That's his stacks play today. And Seahawks team total over 19.5 for our guy. There you go. That is our action. Troy's going to post it on Twitter. I will retweet it. Troy, that is our action. So I like it. I like where we stand. I've got a bunch to add in NHL, and there's a lot on the line. The stakes are high, my man. So, Gogster, thank you for your time. Nice to have you back in business with us. You were running so strong there earlier in the year. Find it, baby. We need it.
We got it. We got it here, baby. We got it here. I think we're going to have a hot day on this card, Jim. Everyone else in the chat, thanks as always for tuning in. Appreciate you guys, all your information, all your insight. I look forward to it just as much as you guys look forward to us. So, be good. Cash those tickets, and Jim, we'll see you. We'll see you next Thursday, brother.
I love it. There he is, Mr. Gogster. Please follow him on Twitter and as golf heats up as well. Let me just pop his Twitter handle there in the chat so you guys follow him. All he does is just put out his action. Very selfless capper. You can also party with him at Pubapalooza. Every guest on today's show. We got to get Darryl. Darryl's. We'll talk to Darryl about it because Darryl has tried to get there. This year's got to be his year, and he's got family in Houston. We're going to give him no excuses this time not to run with us. But Mr. Gogster will be there at Pubapalooza, and so will your next guest. He's off to a great start here in NCAA basketball. 11-6, hitting at 64.7% plus 4.54 units ROI plus 26.71% average line minus 111. And 1-2 day yesterday, and he's angry. He's angry and he's champing to get right back at it. And I love that attitude. A great start to the season, but we need more winners, and we need them now. Please welcome from Dallas, Texas, the star of Medicate Mondays and our college football live stream Saturdays, 11:45 a.m. Eastern, 8:45 a.m. Pacific. And we got Texas Longhorns versus Oklahoma State Cowboys this week. Please welcome the Magic Man, Mr. Dabra Kadabra, to the show. Dabby, how are you?
Oh, man, I'm good. I'm frustrated, like you said. And if people are wondering, if they're thinking, oh, you're 11-6. No, look, I'm not here to go positive. Okay. I'm here to make fucking money. I want to finish this season up 20, 30, 40 units. Okay. So positive's not going to fucking cut it. We're not going to sit up here and look at +2 units or +3 units. We're here to make real fucking money. So that's why I'm frustrated. I should have been on A&M first half yesterday. I knew it after the line movement. It would have been a positive day, but I wasn't. So now we adjust, we move on, and we're here today, Jimmy. We're going to go get it today.
Well, let's go get it. We start with college basketball. Then when we get into college football, you're going to drop SMU Tulane solo. Then Dave Rogers will be joining us for Georgia, Alabama, and Louisville, Florida, because you are both making moves on that one. So that is the plan of action. And you get started right off the hop here. So let's get rolling. Liberty, FAU. We also have the taint play today that I'll be, that Matty Ice has delivered to us in the chat that we'll be talking about a little bit as well. But we start with Liberty Flames at Florida Atlantic. Liberty 6-0 on the year. Florida Atlantic with that strange loss to Bryant. Other than that, I mean, they beat Butler by 5, then they beat A&M by 7, then they beat Virginia Tech by 34. Good basketball team that we know well from last year's tourney. By the way, Pubapalooza, can you imagine this for us? It's round 1 of the NCAA tournament.
So it's so much. I mean, as much as it's cool to be there for the Final Four or the Elite Eight, round 1, come on, we got so many more games. It's so much better.
It'll be fucking mayhem.
Yeah,
it'll be fucking mayhem in that back room. And that's a beautiful room we have. We have like 9-10 big TVs. We have our studio right there. It's ours, and it's connected right to the bar, but it's our room, and like it's going to be mayhem. J-Dub, nice call with Colorado State, man. Good call there yesterday. But let's get right to work here with Liberty, Florida Atlantic. Let's set the table up for Daby Cab. Just give me 1 second here. While I'm setting this up, actually, give me a second here. While I'm setting this up, let's tell you guys about the Taint play of the day. Taint play of the day is Hofstra. Hofstra for Matty Ice, -5.5. So let's give a shout out to Matty Ice, and then we'll get this game hammered, and I'll have it all set up. All right, this line, here we go. Here we go. This line opened up with Liberty +7. They're now +7.5. So FAU's gone from -7 to -7.5, a half-point move towards them. And from a total side of things here, we are dealing with a 144. It's juiced to the over. This opened up at 147.5 and climbed to 148.5 before this crash. And not only that, but it crashed down to 145.5 and then climbed back up to 147. Seems like the books don't really know where to put it. And this crash went all the way down to 143.5 afterwards. So it's just a yo-yo line movement here. Let's see if the cash has anything to do with any of this. 55% of the tickets, 56% of cash on FAU, only a half-point move towards them. Then 61% of tickets and 68% of cash on the over, and it's dropped fast. Take it away for us here, Daby Cab. Game number 1 on your card, Liberty Flames, Florida Atlantic Owls.
So I'm going to break this game down first, and then I'm going to tell you guys how we're going to get paid on it because it's going to be a part of something else here. The Flames are off to a great start, right? Winning their first 6 games. I saw somebody put in the chat 5-0 ATS. They're looking for their 7th win in a row. Liberty right now averaging 82.4 points per game. They put up 99 points in their last game, making 65% of their field goals, 48.4% of their threes. So, absolutely just lighting it up. They've played well defensively this year, Liberty. They've only given up 64.4 points per game. Last game, they gave up 62, so they were right in par with that. And then, you look on the other side with the Owls. They're playing well. They've got momentum. They've also got a 3-game winning streak going. They've only got 1 loss on the season. Florida Atlantic, they're averaging 83 points per game, putting up 84 in their last game, and they're making 56.9% of their field goals and 40.9% of their threes. This team is legit. This is not a team that just happened to stumble their way deep into the tournament last year. This wasn't it might have been a quote unquote Cinderella story, but this team is for real. This team can play, and they're not somebody to overlook this year by any means. Defensively, Florida Atlantic has done well, giving up 67.5 points per game. Last game, they only gave up 50 points, so they were outstanding. Boyd is going to be questionable for this game, but with or without him, I'm going to be where I'm at. Like I said, Owls have won 3 straight, including a win over A&M, who was 12th in the country at the time, putting up more than 80 points per game with 49% of their shots. And here's the thing. Even though the Flames have played well defensively this year and they're 6-0, they have not played a team like Florida Atlantic. Flat out, they have not been tested. It just hasn't happened. I think they're going to have a hard time slowing them down in this game. And another thing too, Florida Atlantic, when you're looking at their free throw percentage, they're hitting 70% of their free throws. And my biggest thing is the Flames. They don't rebound the ball as well as Florida Atlantic. I talk about rebounding in the paint. It's so important. I know I was on the wrong side of that A&M game yesterday. Should have been on the first half, but at one point A&M had 7 offensive rebounds to 1. Okay, they were up 7-1. They had a 10+ margin on the rebounds, which is exactly what I set up here, which is what I capped. It's frustrating when you see what you want to see and it just doesn't play out. But again, the paint is so important. And right here, I just think the Owls have the advantage in the paint. I think they're going to have the advantage defensively, and they obviously have the advantage offensively. Again, today's card was a little difficult for me, and this might sound like kind of a weird bet or a stretch, but this bet that I'm about to tell you guys, I've made this bet for years now in college basketball on cards like today, and it has worked out for me. So Florida Atlantic is the first part of a 2-team parlay, and I do have 3 bets today. This is just the first part of one of them, but Florida Atlantic is the first part. So Florida Atlantic first half. Let me pull up exactly what those odds were because we're going to have to add another thing to it. Florida Atlantic first half, minus 230. And then I'll give you the other. There's only one other leg to this parlay, and it comes out at plus 103. So I'll give it to you guys when we get to it.
Florida Atlantic first half money line for Daby Cab. Billy Friedrich thinks Liberty can win this game outright. Big Ragu liking Liberty as well. Coin on the under 145.5. He says he feels like the play. Justin McElvey's on Liberty plus 7. Billy Friedrich saying Liberty shoots 53% from the floor as a team. That one dude is putting a huge bet on Liberty plus 7.5. So we don't see a ton of the FAU on the other side of things at this point. Billy Friedrich saying Liberty 5-0 against the spread, but Torrey Coker liking this spot on Liberty. All right, we're going to move on to this from this one, but that is the first spot on the board. We move on to 9 p.m. Eastern. Number 15th ranked Kraken Blue Jays 5-1 at Oklahoma State. Cowboys 3-3, 3-1 at home in Stillwater for this one. Let's take a look at this situation here. We have everything up and Adam. So we have Creighton coming off that loss, bad loss at home to Colorado State, losing by 21 in ugly fashion. They must be an angry group. That was last Thursday, so they've been sitting there for 7 days. On the other side of things, a couple ugly losses to the Bonnies and then the Notre Dame. Well, I mean, they're very tight losses, 66-64 in both to the Bonnies and to Notre Dame. And then they come back and beat, New Orleans, which is not saying much. They come back and beat New Orleans, and then they beat Houston Christian. So it's not like they've had a tough run here. That spot on Houston Christian was last Friday when they won 92-6. But they seem a little vulnerable. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. This is popping off at 9 p.m. We have Oklahoma State right now is 8-point dogs. 8-point dogs. They opened up as 7.5-point dogs. They're now 8-point dogs. And from a total side of things here, this opened up at 140 and is shot all the way up to 144. And cash-wise, let's finish off with the cash then in this one. You have 70% of tickets and 81% of the cash on the over, and this is shot all the way up. And then on the spread here, we have – sorry, move back down here. On the spread, you have 88% of tickets and 96% of the cash on Creighton. Good God, it's only moved a half point, too. Torrey Coker saying Creighton first half -4 is his best bet. There's only one game early, Kong. There's only one game early, and, it's not like a Div 1 spot. So take it away for us here, Daby Cab. Game 2 on your slate, Creighton, Oklahoma State.
The Blue Jays have been off for the past week, and I got to imagine this has been an intense week of practice for them. Very, very frustrated. They got to be, let me say this right, champing at the bit. I said that correctly? Got to be champing. Yeah.
There's a battle about champing and chomping.
Okay.
Yes. In the English language, it is supposed to be champing.
Okay. Well, they should be champing, Jimmy, because their last game was a disappointing loss where they lost 69-48 to Colorado State in the finals of the Hall of Fame Classic in Kansas City. Creighton only put up 19 points in that first half. I mean, it was just an absolute, shit show for them. They're coming into this match, ranked 22nd in the country, despite that poor performance against Colorado State in that outing. They're 25th in field goal percentage and 30th in three-point field goal percentage, 37th in points allowed per game as well. I mean, this is just a very well-rounded basketball team. They're 31st in rebounding. So pretty much everything they're good at. Then you look on the other side, you got the Oklahoma State Cowboys, very modest start to the season. You touched on the 3-3 record. But they have the very weak schedule that they've played so far. They just beat Houston Christian Friday at home. Good for you. That's what you're supposed to do. Cowboys right now sitting with the 106th ranked offense in the country. They're 100th in field goal percentage and 146th in three-point shooting. And those numbers are probably inflated. Okay. So I mean, I guess they're a little bit above average since we got so many teams in college. But those are inflated numbers, and they're not as high as you would like to see for an Oklahoma State team. Right now, the Cowboys are 78th in points allowed per game this season. They're 88th in field goal percentage and 133rd in three-point defense, which is a spot where I think Creighton is going to expose them. I think I think the Blue Jays bounce back in a big way right here. Been sitting there for a week, just stomaching an ass beating that they took, and they're a good team. Whereas Oklahoma State, I think, is building. They're not there yet. Creighton's played the better schedule this far. They've had the more challenges, and this is going to be the best offensive team that the Cowboys have played here. And if you look at Oklahoma State, the one Power 5 conference team that they've played was Notre Dame, right? And they dropped that game 66-64. And Notre Dame is not a good. They're not even close to a top 25 team. They're in full rebuild mode right now this season. So again, I think the Blue Jays are the complete package. They can score and defend both ways, efficient. And they're going against a Cowboys team that's had a light schedule. And is also only 133rd in 3-point defense. That's not going to work against a Creighton team here. So I'm just going to say this again. I know. So BJ said you might as well take full game. I know this is a little weird. This is the second part. Creighton first half money line. You put it with Florida Atlantic, you get plus 103. So I need Creighton first half on the money line. I need Florida Atlantic first half on the money line. Both of those go together for a plus 103 bet. Here, let me give you exactly what Creighton was when I locked it in. Creighton was minus 240, so it's minus 230 and minus 240, both on the money line. And for people wondering why I don't go full game with it, full game would have been minus 320, okay? I'm getting minus 240 in the first half. It's one half of basketball. I think both of these teams are the better team. I think they should be up. Creighton full game, minus 7, and I know it's minus 8 now, is very likely on my card. I want to talk about our Oregon State game. I want to think about it for a minute, and I'll come back to it. I don't like how much money is on it. And, that's one thing, most of the time I have everything bet. This one I wanted to come in here and talk with you about. Only moving a half a point with all that money bothers me a little bit.
I feel you. Yeah, it's that's a lot of money and a lot of tickets on Creighton, and I get the first half look too. It just, there was those spots with the Lakers and the Nuggets that were like, is this too easy? And no, it's a nice setup for them. But first half does seem a little more appealing. I wish they were at home, but
right.
You imagine that they're going to be an angry group and playing good ball here early. But that is a little too much money on. I wish they were playing a really good basketball team. That would be the best case scenario. Instead, they're playing sort of a lesser light. But let's move on to your final spot on the board before we get into college football. Then Dave Rogers will join us for the final 2 games of Daby's college football before we hear Dave Rogers' college basketball best bets. And this is the lone game that you guys both have. So you're going to hear 2 takes on this one from Daby Cab and one from Dave Rogers. Let's get into this one. This is the late game here for us. UC Davis at Oregon State. We have UC Davis right now coming in off of a loss to Sacramento, 69-63. That came on the heels of a big win over North Dakota State. Oregon State's lost 3 straight, lost badly to Pitt last week. That was over, I think that was in Brooklyn, right? I think that was over in Brooklyn, but they've lost 3 straight. Tough competition, but they've lost badly, all by double digits. Nebraska, Baylor, and Pitt, ugly losses. Let's get into the line history and take a look at the cash flow for this one. This one has Oregon State minus 2.5 and minus 111. They opened up at minus 108. There's been a 3-cent move towards them. Then from a total side of things here, we are dealing with a 137.5. This opened up at 134. It's climbed all the way up to 137.5. And then cash flow wise, you have 55% of the tickets and 78% of the cash on Oregon State. It's sort of that Troy Torrance sentiment where, he'd prefer a worse line because then he'd have confidence that the market is concerned. And I really feel that sentiment here. If they were concerned about this sharp action on Oregon State, and I'm not saying that I won't move on them, but I would like to see the market moving. Then from a total side of things here, cash-wise, come on, flip over. From a total side of things on the cash flow front, we have 43% of tickets and 64% of the cash on the over. See, that's a perfect example. You have 43 and 64, and this has gone up 3.5 points. So the market's concerned with that sharp action. Take it away for us here, Daby Cab, your final game on the college basketball board.
Again, not my favorite card today, but I think I found, and I know that first bet I gave out might seem a little different to people, but I like it. And so that's all that matters because my bankroll is what's important. And this one too, I think I found a spot here. I mean, Oregon State 3-3 on the season, 1-3 against the spread. Like you said, 3-game losing streak, tough stretch right there. Lost to Baylor, lost to Pittsburgh, lost to Nebraska. And to be honest, they weren't really competitive in any of those games. I guess Baylor, they covered the spread, which was 16.5, and they lost by 16. But just absolutely destroyed by the Panthers, who covered a 9.5 spread with these. Oregon State only shot 32.7% from the field and 2 for 21 from deep in that game. About as bad as it gets. Beavers right now just 252nd in the nation in adjusted defense efficiency. Again, that's going to happen when you're playing teams like Baylor and you're not up to par with them. You got Jordan Pope leading the way for this Oregon State Beavers team. He is putting up 17.7 points per game, averaging 3 rebounds and 3 assists per game. So he's been a good part for them. I said it though, even though they're getting their ass kicked, the Beavers' strength of schedule in November was 29th in the country. Okay. So they're not playing any cakewalk. And then you look on the other side of this Aggies strength of schedule, 296. And I know that the Beavers have dropped 3 straight against good teams, but I got to back them here, Jimmy. I think that they snapped their skid here in front of a home audience. Right now, Oregon State is 3-0 straight up at home this season. They did have that 81-80 double overtime win against Troy, which was a good win for them. Even as bad as Oregon State's been, I think that they should have the better defensive team here. I mean, at least the numbers will indicate that. I think they're going to have enough firepower here to just slow this Aggies team down. Elijah Pepper is the best player on this Aggies team, but behind him, they lack depth. And this team is also just 1-6 against the spread over their 7 games overall also. So neither of these teams are covering. Neither of these teams are playing up to par. So I got Oregon State right here, full game.
I'm very interested in joining you. And the good thing is we're going to have Dave Rogers touch on this game as well. So I find that extremely appealing spot here. So that is your college basketball action. We have the Florida Atlantic first half money line, Creighton first half money line parlay at plus 103. We have Oregon State -2.5 and minus 108. And do we want to leave it there and move on to college football?
I think so, Jimmy. Like I said, this isn't about having +2 units at the end of the season. I want to make real money for anybody that's involved in this. And for me to do that, I think staying off of a 96% of the money spot where it's not moving is the way to do it.
I like it. Let's move on to college football. College football, we have 3 games that we're talking about. Now, we had the Big Ragu and DJ Big Boss yesterday. We're going to have Bobano tomorrow. So we're going to have a lot of different ways to, a lot of different angles, I should say. Maybe that's the best way on these football games. Let's touch on the first one because it's just you, Daby Cab. It's the Daby Cab best bet, and then Dave will be joining us for the next 2. AAC Championship, the SMU Mustangs 10-2, 8-0 in the American at the number 22 ranked Tulane Green Wave, 11-1, 8-0 in the American. We're at Yeoman Stadium in New Orleans, Louisiana, and we have 73 Fahrenheit, showers 7 miles per hour. So yesterday, let's pull this up here on this game with our guy Doc and Boss, they stayed off of this game. This was the only game on the entire card where both didn't make a move. So now we have one. Let's go over the line history for those of you who weren't with us yesterday. Touch on the line history and the cash flow for you guys, and then we'll hear how Cab is getting paid. So from a spread perspective, on Saturday, this one pops off at 4 p.m. We have, that's the wrong book. Sorry. Let's go over to Pinnacle. We have Tulane is -3.5 point favorites. That is juice to SMU. We talked about this crazy line move, a lot of injury issues that this was based on, but it went from 3 to 2.5 all the way up to 6. This was at 6. And now it's down to 3.5. So Tulane's gone from 6-point favorites to 3.5-point favorites. And then from the total perspective here, we have this total sitting at 47 at -111. This opened up at 52.5. Now, this has not ever had buyback. This has only gone down from 52.5 down to 47, a 5.5-point move towards the under. And then cash flow wise here, for this one. Move over to college football. And we have, actually, I'll skip all markets. Let's go over here. We have 58% of the tickets and 78% of the cash is on SMU. And total wise, we have 53% of the tickets and 62% of the cash, despite it dropping from 52.5 down to 47. Cab, take it away. Yeoman Stadium, New Orleans, Louisiana.
Yeah, the money on the total is really, really interesting to me. And shout out to our guy Big Ragu, because I know that we said we're having different looks. We both cashed that over in the Texas game last week, and that was a lot of fun. I liked being on that with them. The Mustangs here, SMU's been on a tear. They've won their last 8 games, and they've been doing it by a margin, right? 27.8 points is the average margin that they've been winning. Very, very high tempo, high scoring SMU. They will be without their quarterback, which I know that I think that's probably where a lot of people are worried about this Mustangs team. But I think they're going to be okay without him. I still do. SMU averaged 41.8 points and 472.6 total yards per game this season. They were 16th in the country in passing with 292.5 yards. They were decent at rushing, 180.1 rushing yards, puts them at 42nd. They convert 41.2% of their third down attempts, which is really well. I don't think this Mustang team gets the credit that they deserve, if I'm being honest. And then you look at the other side, the Green Wave. They run the table this season, right? They lost one to Power 5 conference without their starting quarterback. That was the early in the season when they lost to Ole Miss. But it's been a historic run here for Tulane. They beat USC in the Cotton Bowl last year to finish with a 12-2 record. And then this season they turn around. They're playing great. You look at their offense right now, averaging 27.9 points per game, 63rd in the country. They were also able to convert 40.2% of their third downs so they can keep drives alive. And another great defense here, 18th in the country, only giving up 328.2 total yards per game. So both these teams, good offenses, good defenses, very respectful teams. But where I'm going to go with this, and it's going to go against the move, I'll take the points, Jimmy. I'm going on the over here. I think both of these teams, and where it comes down to me is the reason I brought up those third down conversions, they're going to be able to keep drives alive, okay? When you have an over, you need a team to be able to go get you a 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6. And I think these teams can do it. And they're bringing the number down for us. I almost look at it kind of like shout out Ragu again last week with the Texas game. That number just keep coming down, and he said, "Bring it down, bring it down." I'm going to say the same thing with this. Keep bringing it down. I'm going to take the over.
Exciting look. Over 47. The best line available is -105. That is available at Pinnacle. SMU Tulane over 47 at -105 for Daby Cab in SMU Tulane. Let's move on to the next one, and we have a big one, and we also have the opportunity of bringing on our next guest. We'll have a 3-headed monster here for the final 2 games, and they are big ones. The SEC Championship and the ACC Championship. Please welcome your next guest, star of the Picks from Dave YouTube channel, originally from California, now making his home in Arizona, and his fellow co-star of The Unmuted Mic, a show we miss very much and can't wait to have back in action. Please welcome Mr. Dave Rogers to the show. Dave, how are you, my friend?
What's up, boys? How we doing?
Doing great, man. It's great to see you guys back in action together. Let's talk about this spot, the SEC Championship. Number 1 Georgia Bulldogs, 12-0, 8-0 in the SEC versus number 8 ranked Alabama Crimson Tide, 11-1, 8-0 in the SEC. We're at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. Yesterday, on Wednesday, November 29th, we heard from our guys, Ragu and Boss was staying off of this spot. This was a big Ragu spot. He's on Alabama plus 6.5 at -111, and he's on the over 53.5 at -109. We talked about the line movement yesterday. We'll touch on it very quickly here again. Let's get this up here. So from a total standpoint here in the big one, we heard Ragu on the over 53.5. That has climbed since yesterday. We're now at 54.5, and Pinnacle has moved it to 54. This opened up at 56, and that 53.5 was the lowest, the low water mark that it's got to. There's been buyback, a point buyback from when Rigu moved on it. From a point spread scenario here, we have a 6. We no longer have 6.5s. This was at 6.5 yesterday on the show. Now, it also yesterday, that wasn't at Pinnacle. Yesterday at Pinnacle, now this was at 6.5 at Pinnacle on Monday, but the 6.5 that we got wasn't at Pinnacle when we were line shopping. This was at 6.5 or 5.5 when we did the show yesterday. So there has been a half point move towards Georgia. We get to the cash for the big game, 83% of tickets, 78% of cash on the over, and yet this dropped. Now we saw the buyback, and then 66% of tickets, 65% of cash on Georgia minus 5.5. Dave, we will start with you, my friend. Welcome to the show. Take it away. How are you getting paid in the big one, the SEC Championship?
Well, this is big. In fact, I think you could make an argument that even though Alabama has one loss, and when you get up to the top 4, 5, 6 teams, you're splitting hairs. These might be the best 2 teams in the country. I know they had that loss to Texas early in the season. For whatever reason, that's become a game, this Texas-Alabama thing the past couple years. But in my opinion here, and actually, let me say this too. These are types of games that I stay off of. I try to find value in places the books aren't looking, in the smaller schools, the crummier bowls. I usually don't take this type of game, but I think this line is way disrespectful. On my index, this should be less than a field goal on a neutral field, in my opinion. Besides that Texas loss, Bama's kind of rolled down their schedule. They're 8-4 ATS. Georgia's 4-7-1. And I know people say, oh, well, what about this Auburn game where Auburn played them so close? Well, if you didn't know, that's one of the biggest rivalries in college football, and it's this big. About 10 years ago, a Bama fan, rivalries, you see these fights and things and vandalism. Well, check this out. In 2010 is when it happened. A Bama fan went down to Auburn, and there are these 100-year-old trees in a row down there. He took pesticide and killed them all. Went to jail, felony. That's how deep that rivalry is. So the fact that Auburn plays them that hard isn't a big thing. I'm not worried about that game. And the last thing I have to say about this, obviously I'm on Bama, but if you look at Georgia, go down their trends, everything's 10-0, 5-0, 7-0. Everything's good for Georgia except for 1-7 straight up their last 8 versus Bama. That was last year. I was wrong then. I don't think I'm wrong now. I think Bama wins outright, but I'm definitely taking the points.
Wow. And I've been cleaning up the records for all of you guys because it's so important for our transparency on the show. And I've fallen behind on you guys for your college football, but I'll get that. I was close to finishing up, but I had to get back to capping. And for your record keeping purposes, because you've been now with us for about a month, right? And you've been giving us college football action. Do you want just Bama on the spread, or do you want Bama money line?
Oh, I want to take the points. I'm gonna bet both. Put a money line and put a few units on Bama. But for record keeping, let's make the bet safe. This is an investment, and let's take the points.
So now we've had Big Ragu and Dave Rogers give us Alabama plus the points. Let's hear, and also Ragu's on the over. Let's hear what Daby Cab is doing with the SEC Championship, Georgia Bulldogs, Alabama Crimson Tide. Take it away, Daby Cab.
I get it. After being stunned at home against Texas, back in September, Alabama's just rattled off impressive win streak, impressive win after impressive win. But not just winning, they've covered the spread as well, which is what's so important for us as gamblers, right? I could give a shit less if somebody wins if they're not covering the spread. Which really makes this interesting matchup here, and Dave did touch on it. Alabama has kind of owned Georgia, and Alabama the past few years, whether it's been in the SEC Championship or, in the National Championship, has been a bet for me. I was on Georgia in the National Championship last year. One thing about Alabama to watch out for, though, is they have a trio of injuries right here that are going to be monitored, and it's going to impact both sides of the ball. At running back, their leading rusher, McLennan, he's got a lower body injury. He's going to be questionable. On the defensive side, they're going to be without Jalen Key. He's got that thigh injury. He's been a big part of their secondary. So they are a little banged up here. And I can tell you one thing. I want nothing to do with the full game here. If I was to bet full game, I probably would bet Alabama just because it's too large of a spread. But for one half of football, I can get Georgia in the first half at -3, and that's what I did. I think the Bulldogs do win another SEC championship in this one, but I think it could be a 3 or 4 point game by the end of the game. That being said, in the first half, I think Bama's going to come out. One thing Alabama's done this year that you never see under Nick Saban is they commit a lot of penalties. Just penalties that they've just been inept when it comes to penalties and causing trouble and putting themselves behind the sticks. And as Georgia's schedule, has heated up a little bit, they still covered 2 of their last 3 games. I think Georgia rolls right here in the first half. So I got Georgia first half -3.
What was the juice on that -3?
I think it was just regular juice -110, but I'll give it to you one second.
Okay, I will line shop on that. So Dave is on Bama and Cab on Georgia. First half -3 at -110. I love it. There is Georgia, Alabama action. Let's move on to the next spot on the board. 8 p.m. Eastern, the ACC Championship. Number 14th ranked Louisville Cardinals. 10-2, 7-1 in the ACC at the number 4 ranked Florida State Seminoles, 12-0, 8-0 in the ACC. Bank of America Stadium, Charlotte, North Carolina. We're dealing with 62 Fahrenheit and rain. 62 Fahrenheit and rain. And yesterday we had one of 2 games where our guys, DJ Big Boss and Big Ragu, were on opposite sides. Big Ragu on his Seminoles, -2.5, -108. DJ Big Boss on Louisville, +2.5, comparing Louisville to last year's TCU Horned Frogs. Very, very interesting spot here. Let's take a look at the line history. We're still dealing with the 2.5s from yesterday. Florida State is a little juiced here at -110. And we know that line's been all over the map. We touched on it yesterday, but let's just hit it one more time. With the quarterback injury, it's gone from 5.5 down to 2.5. 5.5 down to 2.5. And then from the total standpoint here in this one, we have it sitting at 47.5. And the injury to Florida State quarterback's done the same thing there. It's moved it from 53.5 down to 47.5. And when we get over to the cash flow for this one, 8 p.m. This is our final college football game before we move into Dave Rogers' best bets in college basketball. We have 52% of the tickets and 72% of the cash on Louisville. And then on the total, we have 88% of the tickets and 95% cash on the under. Daby Cab, we start with you. ACC Championship. Take it away.
Love it. You got this undefeated Florida State Seminoles team here. They've had some convincing wins on the season, 39-17 against Virginia Tech, beat up Wake Forest, not a good Wake Forest team, but 41-16. And then there's been a few narrow decisions also. They had the win in overtime against Clemson or Miami, excuse me. No, Clemson was overtime. Clemson was their overtime game. Excuse me. Either way, they've had a few close ones and they've had a few blowouts. The big news that everybody knows, we saw it last week. Jordan Travis, he's not going to be in the game, right? This Louisville Cardinals team, they're a good squad. But when you look at some of their losses, they don't sit right with me. You look at that 38-21 loss against Pittsburgh. I know 38-31 isn't a blowout, but that's against a Kentucky team that is just absolutely trending down. And that was last week. You might can say that they were overlooking or whatnot, but still, you don't go out there and lose to this Kentucky squad right here, especially not in this situation. It just doesn't give me any confidence going up against this Florida State team. I mean, obviously, undefeated Florida State's going to want to win the ACC title. They're going to want to, be in the college playoffs. Plenty of motivation. We don't have to worry about that. And even without Jordan Travis in this game, Florida State's defense is outstanding. And the reason why they've been able to win the close games, the reason why that they are undefeated is because this defense has been propelling them to wins. You look at the game last week against the Gators, Florida was only able to put up 15 points in that win. And I just think this will be another thing too, is the Cardinals defense has not been sharp recently. They've given up 31 and 38 points respectively in their last 2 games. And Louisville only passes the ball 45% of their plays. That's going to make it difficult for them to generate their usual yards on the ground because this Seminoles defense is only conceding 140 rushing yards per game. And then you look at their pass defense, 10th in the nation. I think the Florida State's defense is just too good here. I got the Seminoles -2.5.
Seminoles -2.5 for Daby Cab in the ACC Championship. Dave Rogers, what are you doing here?
Yeah, I mean, kudos to Louisville. Every year it seems like, I think Moose was last year or maybe this year. Every year they're a dark horse in the ACC, blah, blah, blah. I don't think the program's that great. Good. They only have 2 losses this year. Fantastic. And I know Jordan Travis is hurt. Dab said about 80% of what I was going to say, but bottom line is FSU has a stifling defense. They're the 10th best in the country as far as scoring defense. And when you look at Louisville and when they face defenses that were comparable, they faced 2, Notre Dame and NC State. Notre Dame, they scored 33 points. Well, congratulations. You got 5 turnovers, 3 interceptions, 2 fumbles. 13 of those points were off of those turnovers. So you take those away or just get 1. They're in the game, or they wouldn't have won the game. They wouldn't have lost the game because Notre Dame only scored 20. But either way, that's skewed. Then look at NC State. They're the closest thing to FSU that they've faced, they being Louisville, and they scored 13 points, and FSU's better. They're a run-first team. They're not going to generate what they need to do to score. The under's probably a look, but I think this could sneak over. Tate Roadmaker's just fine. FSU's going to run the ball. I'm on FSU.
Florida State for both of our guys. Let's get this line here for you guys and lock it in.
We hit Baylor last week in college basketball, Dave. Let's hit this one.
We did.
We're 1-0 on the same side here, so let's make it 2-0.
-2.5, -110. Can we get a 108 over at Heritage? And we can. So -2.5 for our guys, -2.5 and -108. 2.5.
And I haven't tweeted any of mine out yet, Jimmy, so it's kind of line shopping for all of them. I'll get it out today.
Perfect. Well, we got you the -2.5, -108. We got you. Oh, so then why don't we line shop for that Georgia first half quickly here, and then get into Dave's college basketball best bets right next. The first half on Georgia. Wow. So bookmaker has moved it to 3.5. So if you had a -110, I can't find you one, but you found
it
one?
It was -115.
Okay. That makes sense. That's what it is right here, market wide. Okay, first half -3 at -115. And then we got you the SMU Tulane over 47 at -105. Great work. I can't wait to continue this. Love these days where we have both of you guys on. It's been great. It's been great. Daby Cab, I'm going to go over your college basketball again at the end of the show because we got to keep rolling here. But 11-6 on the season. Keep getting that cash. Thank you for your hard work. Please check out Daby Cab's big Saturday live stream, Texas, Oklahoma State, alongside Connor Mack picks and a bunch of great guests. So check that out. And then, of course, Medicate Mondays, 11 a.m., right here on Pub Sports Radio. And then you can catch him here on Wednesdays and Thursdays with college basketball best bets. Daby Cab, thank you for your time, my guy. Any last words for the Capper Sport in the show?
Oh, I say it every time, man. We don't have anything without you guys. The chat, man. That one dude, you know, some of the games you're on the same side as me. Some of your games you're on the other side of me. I love it, man. That's why we're here. We can't always be on the same side. We learn from each other. We get better. And, you know, you brought it up when Dave came in here. For anybody that didn't tune into the Unmuted Mic, go check it out. Listen, the reason that show's not still consistently going is because getting very attractive models for every episode, it takes a lot, right? But we actually have a couple. I haven't talked to Dave, but I have a couple people that I've talked to recently. We could bring it back. It wouldn't be hard, but we just need to know that there's support for it if we're going to do it.
Oh, I think there is support. So yeah, let's put out a couple. We should put out. Do you guys want this thing and see the flood of support for it? I love it. Go get that cash, Daby Cab. Please follow Cab on X at Daby Cab. Let's roll into college basketball right now with you, Dave, and we get started with a big one. 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Texas Tech Red Raiders 5-1, 0-0 on the road. I got Butler Bulldogs who are 3-0 at Hinkle Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. Let's get into the line history for your first spot. I thought I had it ready, and I do. Line history for your first spot here. We have Butler -3 now at -103, -3 at -104. So this has gone from 1.5 up to 3 now for Butler. And from a total side of things here, we have it sitting at 138. This opened up at 139.5, and interestingly enough, it dropped down to 136.5 before we've had this climb back to 138. From a cash flow perspective here, quickly move over here. From a cash flow perspective, we have 56% of tickets and 66% of cash on Butler. From a total side of things, 36% of tickets and 45% cash is on the over. And taking just a quick look at the situation for both squads, Texas Tech off back-to-back victories. That win over Michigan was impressive. Now we know Michigan's nothing like what they've been, but 73-57 in their last game. And Butler lost to Michigan State by 20, lost to Florida Atlantic by 5, bounced back with a 10-point win versus Penn State, and a 14-point win against Boise at home. And that was on Sunday. Texas Tech hasn't played since Friday. Take it away for us, Dave Rogers. Your first game on the board: Red Raiders, Bulldogs.
Yeah, boy, this is moving. I'll tell you what I got it last night. I won't give it away. I guess I'll give my play out at the end of what I'm saying. But this is moving towards Butler, and it makes sense to me. Texas Tech is 2-4 against the spread. Butler 6-1. When you look at the teams and you break them down against offense versus defense, Texas Tech has a bad scoring offense, but a really good defense. Butler has a very good scoring offense, but they also have an above-average defense. They're only separated by about 5 points given up per game. So when you look at it tit for tat, I lean Butler there. But really, and you'll hear me talk about it. You've heard me talk about it. But there are 3 keys, in my opinion, when you're starting out with or betting college basketball. Period. You're looking at turnovers, rebounds, and free throws. And the edge in this is turnovers. Butler doesn't turn the ball over. Well, they turn the ball over, but they're 60th in the country. That sounds kind of high, but remember there are 363 teams. That's top 20%. And Texas Tech, they turn the ball over 13 times per game. That's 220th. So there's a turnover, advantage turnovers, advantage offense. Defenses are really close. But here's the kicker for me and why I'm leaning Butler. And I got the money line at -118. And I think it was -1 when I looked at it. Maybe it was -1.5, but you can take the money line now. I think it's too juicy. I wouldn't. I take the 3. It's within 1 possession. But this is Texas Tech's first true road game. They played on neutral sites, but this is the first time they're playing at the other team's arena. And Butler's 3-0 at home, 3-0 against the spread at home and as a favorite. So all the leans toward Butler, tip the edge. I got the money line. It's still within 1 possession. Lay the 3 points.
Well, we can get you 2.5 still.
Okay. That works.
Let's lock that in for you here. You know what? I'm gonna line shop. I'll line shop for that, but let's not sit there line shopping. So I'll do that. I'll get you. Dave is on Butler -2.5, and I'll find the best vig. Dave is on the board. Let's move on to his second game. 8 p.m. Eastern. Southeast Missouri State Redhawks 1-5, 0-3 on the road at the Kansas City Rouge. 2-5, but 2-0 the Swinney Recreation Center. Let's take a look at the line history.
Can we move? I can that game. Can we move to the next one?
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
I sent you a message. I didn't like where things went. So
no worries. That's all good. All good. Perky Sanderson in the house. Jay's final take. Great to see you guys. Okay, so we're gonna move past that one and move right to the Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns. 5-2, 0-1 on the road at Sanford. Bulldogs 5-2, 5-0 home. We're at Pete Hanna Center in Homewood, Alabama. This one also pops off at 8, I believe. Right? It also is right there, the Louisiana game. Let's get it. Here we go. From a total side of things, it's sitting at 153.5. That's where it opened. Got up to 154.5 and has come down. So no real important line movement there. On the spread, we're sitting here with the Ragin' Cajuns as 3-point dogs on the road. They opened up as 4-point dogs. But this came out at Pinnacle yesterday at 3:40 p.m. This morning, it was at a pick'em basically at 8:04 a.m. And then there was a 1.5 move. A big 1.5 move to the Ragin' Cajuns. It's come back a 0.5 point since then to 3, but that was a pretty big move towards the Ragin' Cajuns. Why don't we see what's going on with the cash flow then for this one. 64% of tickets, 83% of cash on the over, and 65% of tickets, 71% of cash on Louisiana. Take it away for us here, Dave. Samford Bulldogs at home versus the Cajuns.
Yep, two teams that have high-scoring offenses and bad defenses. I guess that's sort of you can see where I'm going with that. But Louisiana, both these teams score almost 80 points a game and give up almost 77 per game. They have very, very effective field goal percentages. They make their shots 54% and 51%. Louisiana's 48th in the country. Samford's 141. Remember, that's above average. 180 would be average. So both teams are very efficient there. They shoot threes real well, 37%. That's high for a college team, 41 and 57th in the country. And they make their free throws. We'll get back to those three things. Free throws, when you have a chance, when no one's defending you and you're close to the basket, you should be making those shots if you want to win games. That sounds obvious, but it is the most obvious thing to me in the covering spreads and covering overs and things like that in college basketball. So you have Louisiana's at 78%, Samford's at 75%. Both of those are top 20% in the nation. And why that's important is not only do these teams shoot free throws very well, they foul a lot. They give up 17. Louisiana gives up 17.8 and Samford gives up 20.3. That's the back 25% of the league. So if you've got two offenses that are good and efficient and two defenses that are bad, teams that can shoot threes, teams that can shoot free throws and make them, and they give up fouls, that is a recipe for the over. I've seen it go down to 151.5. I've seen it gone up to 153.5. I think this is in the high 150s, in my opinion, taking the over in this game.
Let's get you that over here. What was the cash flow on that?
I think both are the over.
Sharp bets on that. Big bets on that over. Okay, I got you the Butler minus 2.5 at minus 108. I'm going to line shop for your over in the Raging Cajun Samford Bulldogs. Let's go to your final spot on the board, and we've already discussed it. Daby Cab moved on Oregon State minus 2.5 at minus 108. We've seen a slight move towards them, even though the big bets are on them. The big bets are on Oregon State. They're also on the over, and we've seen that go up 3 points. So we're very interested to hear your take on this game. Nice 10 p.m. Eastern start for us who want late night action, although we're covered in NHL. And we'll see NBA's next with its Darryl Rice joining us. Take it away for us here. UC Davis Aggies at the Oregon State Beavers in Corvallis.
Yeah, I'd say one team in Oregon State that's it's the season's young, sort of underachieved, and UC Davis, it's actually looked pretty decent. Both teams have below average offenses, and actually UC Davis's defense has been better, but you really have to look at who they've played. I know Cab touched on their strength of schedule. Oregon State's played real teams, and UC Davis have played schlubs. But I'm on Oregon State, and that's my bet for two reasons. And I won't go too much into stuff because you guys have heard it, but here's my take on it. Two things. Big discrepancy in defensive rebounds. Oregon State, 25.2. UC Davis, 18.8. That is 87th and then 340th. UC Davis is almost one of the worst teams as far as defensive rebounding. And that's important because you need the ball. When the other team misses, you need to get the ball and back so you can score. Again, a lot of this college basketball is very, very, very simplistic if you think about it. But either way, free throws. Big discrepancy in free throws. It is a 10-point discrepancy. Oregon State shoots at 74.8%. UC Davis shoots at 64.3%. With better in free throws, defensive rebounding's better. Oregon State's played a tougher schedule, which kind of, I guess, skews some of their statistics, and UC Davis has played cupcakes. So at 2.5, this is a steal to me. Within 3 points, I think Oregon wins by 2 possessions.
You got it. Oregon State minus 2.5, minus 108. The over 153.5, minus 108 in the Raging Cajuns, Samford Bulldogs, and Butler minus 2.5, also at minus 108. Dave also gave us Florida State minus 2.5, minus 108. He gave us Alabama plus 6 at minus 105. And we are locked and loaded. Dave, thank you so much for making time for us. You've been also so great on our live streams. I've enjoyed it immensely. betting live with you. What's going on at the Picks from Dave YouTube channel? Do we have Nerd Talk this Friday?
We do. We'll have a Friday night Nerd Talk. That is a show, and you'll see, for people that haven't seen it, a lot of you have, it has a lot of faces that you will find familiar from this channel and others. We sit around and live bet. It's another live betting stream, but we also prepare for the weekend, which, as we know now, needs some preparation because there's a billion games on Saturday. I'm also going to be on live streams with Jimmy. Tonight, Mike has a live stream, so you'll see me there. And I'm on Twitter as well. If you have any questions, DM me.
I love it. At Picks from Dave. Thank you for making time for us, Dave. We move in to NBA. Ooh, has the NBA been good to us? Now, I've been beating myself up for 24 hours for not adding the Nuggets and the Lakers. But man, were we good yesterday on our 3 bets. Now, Dutch Boy Fresh swept the board as well. And we were both on the Clippers as slam dunk on the Clippers. Pelicans plus 2.5, slam dunk. Grizzlies minus 4.5, just a slam dunk. I mean, it was very easy and it was very enjoyable. And we need more winning, and we need more winning right now. And we have just the man for the job. Over the last 2 years, he's been our number one NBA capper of the experts. Very, very consistent. Last year, he started out poorly and climbed out of it with aplomb. This year, he started out winning. And it's not been easy because there have been smaller slates. We finally have a slate with some meat on the bone. So let's get after it. Please welcome from Los Angeles, California, Darryl Rice on the show today. Darryl, how are you, my man?
Yo, what's good, man? What is good? Peace and love to you, brother. You know the normal routine and my salutations. Hope everything is good with you. Like I say, man, any day on this side of the grass.
It's a good day. You know what we say, Darryl? We say, we need you this year. We need you this year. We need you badly this year at Pubapalooza. Okay. We need you. We've talked about it the last couple of years. We've talked about it.
I know.
You got your fam in Houston. You can go hang out with them for a minute and then come back with your second fam, us. We need you, man.
Yeah,
we need you.
Yeah. So what makes it even better, man, is my fam is now in Austin.
Oh, beautiful. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just there to watch my boys' football game a little over a month ago. Tried to get in and see LJ, my boy LJ, but was limited on time. But trust you me, brother. Trust you me. This is the year. This is definitely.
It's also round 1 of the NCAA tournament. Can you believe we're all going to be together for that? That means that everybody has got to get in on Thursday and meet at the bar, even though it's not an official day. But man, oof.
Who's getting shit faced first, bro?
Well, we're pretty talented drinkers, you know. Yeah. But even the most talented, it's a lot. I at the end of the last one, very near the end, I puked up a peanut butter burger at the very end of it. I can still feel it. Yeah, and I don't puke, man. That's like the only time I puked in like 2 or 3 years. But you know, we're really abusing.
That's bad.
But you know what? Last year, also with all of us together, we destroyed. We made so much money. LJ had this monster day on our Friday show in NBA, and I screwed up because I moved on a couple spots on my own. But we were just all of us capping together, only thinking about sports. We got 10 TVs in front of us. Everybody's got their computers out. We're all working nonstop, and we're all gambling together. Of course that we succeed. So we need you there badly. And everybody in the chat, we need you guys there, man. Wine Time going to be there. God,
Wine Time, LJ, Sam, PZ, Justin, yo. What's up, y'all? Yeah, we're going to get it in this year.
We are. Let's get after game 1 here for us in the NBA. We start at 7 p.m. Eastern with the Portland Trailblazers, 5-12, 3-7 on the road. The Cleveland Cavaliers, 10-8, 5-5 at home at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland, Ohio. We have received best bets from a couple of our cappers. Chosen Ones giving us OKC first half minus 3.5 and Brooklyn first half. And then in the chat here, Billy Friedrich saying OKC first half is his best bet of the day. So let me copy and paste that right now. Also, we have Sammy Culmer, Bucks first quarter minus 2.5. We'll talk about all of those spots, but let's set the
Sam,
table.
see, Sam and I must be Wonder Twins. He knows. There's a couple of people that already know where I'm going to go with some of these players today, and I've got a couple of them. So,
well, let's get after this first game here. Go over the line history and the cash flow and this situation. Excuse me, I've got trying so hard not to get sick. I think that it might have finally happened here at the house with the kids.
yeah.
Trying so hard. So you know what? I'm going to set this up and then I'm going to bounce for a quick second and just blow my nose. Don't want to do that here in front of everybody. But Portland, Cleveland, here we have the Blazers coming off that 114-110 win at the Pacers. They played the Bucks tough the night before. They're playing much better basketball despite being 5-12. For the Cavs, they're winners of 2 straight. They beat Toronto at home, then Atlanta at home. This is the final game of the homestand? Let me just double check that very quickly here. This is, yes, the final game of a 5-game homestand.
They're going to Atlanta. No, they play Atlanta.
Oh, they still have one more?
I'm sorry. They just played Atlanta. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah. One more game here for the 5-game homestand. All right, then let's get into the spread here. We are sitting with Cleveland as big double-digit favorites, -12 and -103. This opened up at -11. It's gone from 12 to 11 back to 12. I'll go over the cash flow in a second. I will be right back, but take it away for us here. Game 1 on our NBA slate, Portland Trailblazers at the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I'll be right back.
Okay, yeah, so we know about Portland. And we know there's one thing that you could do with Portland. It's almost automatic. And I see that Bo Jackson's onto the right spot. You guys know me and my quarters. You could fade Portland first quarter. You can absolutely fade them first quarter. It should not be a problem at all. The last time they played, you might have called that a close game in the first quarter, but Cleveland still got them by 5 points. If you look at the games that they have played head-to-head, Cleveland has beat them first quarter every game. Every game. Looking at the game before that, take that back. I was trying to look at the stats. Cleveland lost by 5. So I really wanted to try something different here. This is what I wanted to do because there's something in the system that I was using. It's kind of hit or miss, if you ask me, and that is looking at the disparity in points in the first quarter. And when I see a team that scores a lot of points in the first quarter, and when I see a team that scores not a lot of points in the first quarter, it's almost an automatic play for me, just depending on the level of competition and how one team is better than the other. So you got to have a really, really good team against a bad team. This one here, if you look at the first quarter scoring, they're just about the same. So Cleveland is giving you about 31 points in the first quarter. Portland's giving you about 29 points. In the last 3, they're just about average here. So if I looked at that from an old way of thinking, I would say, okay, well, at this point, I would take Portland and just get Portland plus whatever points. In this case, it's 4. Portland plus 4. But I decided, let's see, Portland is just so bad and Cleveland is just so good. I just think it's one of those spots to where, you could probably get them while they're on this, this little high horse. They won their last 2 games. Their last loss was obviously against us, the Lakers. And since then, they've beaten Toronto and Atlanta. If you look at the first quarter with Atlanta, Cleveland lost that one, 29-33. If you look at the game against Toronto, Cleveland lost that one, 25-28. So something tells me now that this could probably be a get-right game for Cleveland to where you've got to spread this big. They should be able to cover it. So I've already stepped on it. This is against my system, but I'm going to step on it. Cleveland -4 first quarter. I'll go ahead and lay the points.
That's a very interesting move using the because this used to when I was doing fine. Like in my first year down south, I was so nervous about a full year publicly capping NBA because I have I fear NBA, and I was hammering dogs on the first quarter nonstop, and this would have been something that would have really appealed to me. The 4, But it's interesting that the Cavs have not been covering these first quarters. They're also, would you say the team on the 5th game of a 5-game homestand could be a little too relaxed, or are they in that perfect rhythm to
What do they say? I've heard Capper say, as a matter of fact, no, I heard AD say this. I just heard AD say this in a post presser where it just feels good to win a game and go home and sleep in your own bed, right? And that means a lot to a lot of these more veteran seasoned players. And so if you look at Donovan Mitchell, this guy has a routine, like to the T, from the day before game day to actual game day itself. So I think in this case with this team, they should be more comfortable. I believe that. And
Another, sorry, keep rolling. No, keep rolling.
The thing is this also. 4 is a lot of points for a quarter. That's a shit ton of points, right? I mean, that when people look at the 4, it's like, no, an automatic go ahead and just fade that number because, that's when you're talking about fresh legs and, the game is just starting and you're talking about running into actions and things like that. It could go either way. And no one wants to put their money on a game that's over in 12 minutes. So I just feel Cleveland wants to have a really good start. Even though they've won their last 2 games, they want to play at a higher level. And honestly, I believe, my opinion, could be someone else's have a different opinion. But I believe this is going to be the worst team they've played in their last. This is the 4th game. This 4th team is probably the worst team that they've played from the Lakers, Toronto, and Atlanta. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. Easily.
So, because of that, I think that they can get off to a really good start.
And, also the Blazers are a public side here. 67% of the tickets, 70% of the cash. It's not like the line's moving towards them. If they weren't public and the line wasn't moving, I would find that very appealing to back them.
Right.
But, interesting. Okay, so I'm by the way, Will Hill hanging at 3.5, so we'll give you that.
Yeah, I'll take that. I got it at 4, but I always take the number.
First quarter minus 3.5 at -115. I will be off of this spot. Let's move on to the next spot on the board. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We have the Charlotte Hornets at the Brooklyn Nets at Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Not only that, and I know that we haven't been tracking the NBA spreadsheet plays of the day, but we were given a spreadsheet play today on this, and it is the Brooklyn Nets. Ron Crawford, Brooklyn Nets -8 spreadsheet play of the day in NBA. Let's set this up and take a look at the situation. First off, we know Ball is going to be out for a while. Martin has been out as well. That will hurt them. Simmons out for Brooklyn. That's about the only real issue there.
Yeah,
Let's take a look at.
No one cares. No one cares.
Yeah, people care about him less and less and less. Except for his accountant. His accountant probably really likes him. Yeah. Brooklyn's won 3 straight now. Just coming off that 115-103 win at home versus Toronto. Now Toronto bounced back. And it was fun to watch that last night. And then for the Hornets have lost 2 straight, both by double digits. They had that win over Boston, then they beat Washington. The game at Madison Square Garden was ugly. That was on Tuesday night. And, they didn't even shoot that bad. They were just completely outplayed. I mean, they shot 41 points. They were better from 3 than the Knicks. Yet, they were down 13 right off the hop. I mean, it was an ugly, ugly game.
Yeah.
Gordon Hayward, 4 points. Miles Bridges, Miles Bridges, excuse me. Miles Bridges was -22. Is this team going to completely fall apart right now? Because that's what the spreadsheet play they believes.
Did you just say is? You don't think they already are falling apart?
It's just 2 games, though. I mean, it's not. That's not yet a horrific breakdown. This opened up at 8.5 and it dropped to 8. So there has been a half-point move towards these Charlotte Hornets. Let's take a look at the total here while that's loading up. Let's take a look at the cash. On the cash side of things here, we have 68% of tickets, 75% of the cash on the Brooklyn Nets. It's moved a half point towards the Hornets. Mm-hmm. Then we have 51% of the tickets and 85% of the cash on the under. 51 and sorry, what was that again? Sorry, that was 51 and 85 on the under. And this total right now is at 224.5 at Pinnacle. It's at 223.5 at other books. This opened up at 225, so we've dropped a point and a half. Interesting. You know, judging by what's been working really well for me this year, you would think that if we're sitting here with 67% of tickets and 70% of cash, now that's not overwhelming, but 67-70 that the line would be moving towards Brooklyn Nets. It is not. Billy Friedrich on Nets first half. Robert Franklin on Brooklyn Nets minus 8.5. Take it away for us here, Darryl. Game 2 on the board. Hornets, Brooklyn.
You ready for this analysis? You ready for this? I'm going to give you just a really quick, simple analysis here. Give me Brooklyn first quarter minus I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is.
You ready for this? Here's my analysis. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit. So yeah, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is.
Ooh-wee, man. First quarter. Bet of the day.
Quarter.
Take it away.
Yeah. This could easily be a trifecta, right? But I just have a really good feel in this first quarter here. I'm looking at a prediction tracker. This game, Brooklyn 123, Charlotte 109. Another prediction tracker has Brooklyn winning by 9.21 total at 224. This is what I was looking at. Last game they played, October, Brooklyn 42, Charlotte 23. Game before that, Brooklyn 36, Charlotte 21. Game before that, Brooklyn 32, Charlotte 22. Game before that, Brooklyn 38, Charlotte 28. I mean, bruh, the problem is that these teams are pretty familiar with each other. You already don't have LaMelo there. That's why this spread is so high. It may be a little too inflated. The last time they played, the spread was -2, right? And now you got a -8. Now, there could be a lot of moving parts here, but how many points is LaMelo Ball really worth? I know it's not 6, right? So maybe something happens later on in the game. But at the same token, man, I jumped all over the first quarter on this one. Easy. That's just the regular routine with these two teams here. Regular routine. Brooklyn will win the first quarter easily. And then they'll kind of just pan out in the later part of the game. So first quarter -2.5. That's what I got Brooklyn at. I think it's a done deal here. This could be a trifecta, but I just feel really comfortable about the first quarter. That's why I don't give a motherfucking shit what the spread is at all.
Lock it in. Brooklyn Nets. First quarter -2.5 available right now at -107 as Sammy Calmer is letting us know. And he says it makes sense. And if it makes sense to Sammy,
hey, I know.
Dollars and cents. Sammy knows what he's doing, man. He knows what he's doing. All right, let's roll into the next game. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Indiana Pacers 9-7, 3-2 on the road at the Miami Heat. 10-8, 4-2 at home at the Kaseya Center in Miami, Florida. These Pacers right now have lost 2 of their last 3. They just lost to Portland at home, and only 120 or 224 points were scored in that.
I know. No, that's kind of weird. I think it was 110, 114.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So they've lost 2 or 3. The Heat have lost 3 straight. Last one coming in a tough one at home to Milwaukee. And now would be a good time for us just to take a little peek at our 10-1 division bet here with the Orlando Magic. Wait! Let's not get too excited. Got a nice 3-game lead on the Heat. I wish I put more than $200 on that, man, but still, it's
Jimmy, what did I say early on? This is like the second week. And I was wrong about one team, but I was definitely right about Orlando. Watch out for Orlando, man. You're not going to see them where they're the dogs a lot. I thought that about the Pistons as well. But I mean, Orlando's just playing some good ball.
They look so good. Suggs is finally playing like we imagined he would be able to, and then Wagner is like when he goes to the rim, I'm like, what?
Yeah, he's a beast, bro. Wow. He's a beast.
So we're excited. Obviously, we are excited. Nothing wrong with a little excitement on a future
Yeah.
bet. Ooh-wee. Okay, so let's move on. Pacers Heat here. We have a little line history. The Heat
Mhm.
are sitting at -2 or 2.5. Lots of 2.5s on the board. It's -2.5 and -106. A pretty low line for the Heat at home. But of course, they're dealing with a ton of injuries. Tyler Hero is out. Highsmith game time decision. Butler game time decision. Robinson game time decision. Bam game time decision. Tomfoolery here in the NBA. Let's get into the
Yeah.
total. I'd like to, if you think any of those guys are definitely going to play or definitely going to be out, I'd love to hear that. This total very high. Look, it's a Pacers game. Opens up at 239. Now at 238.5. It's just dropped a half point. And of course, that last one went under. And then when we get over to the cash flow for this one, we have here we go. 76% of the tickets, but just 47% of cash on the Heat. That's a really nice point for the Pacers, 24 and 53, but you need to have a sense of who is going to play. 89% of tickets, 89% cash on the over, and yet it's dropped a half point. Take it away. Yeah, North Ender, my man. Did we ever? Take it away for us here. Darryl, Pacers Heat. Pacers Heat.
Yeah, so the square play would obviously be to play any Pacers game over, right? I mean, that's just seem like that's what it comes out to with this Pacers team is they are going to go over regardless of what that total is, for the exception of the last game. Last 10 right now, they're 9-1 to the over. Portland game was just kind of an anomaly there, but you could put that total to whatever. You could put it to whatever, man. And for whatever reason, Pacers are just going to fly over that total. Possessions per game, Indiana's in first, right? Miami's kind of in that bottom bracket there. And I was kind of trying to determine, like, is Miami strong enough to slow down the pace? Are they that type of team any longer? Or are they going to have to play the Pacers game, right? Like, which is which? So I would say if I was going to play this game, I did make a play. And here's another thing. I feel like I'm really late to the party on this. If anybody's been playing Pacers early and just playing the over, Jimmy, they've been cashing, bro. Right? You lost the last one to Portland. I remember that. I had my buddy that put a couple stacks on that, and he was just really, really like sure that it was going to go over, and it did it. And that's the only reason why I remember that score, 110 to 114, because I was surprised that it didn't. Now, maybe that train of taking those overs happens again now, right? Maybe you could jump back on it and just take a little sprinkle money, sprinkle it on this full game over, and see what happens. It is kind of funny also that the total has gone down. I believe this was 239, right? And now we're at 238, 238.5. So that's kind of alarming also. But for what it's worth, I haven't made any money off the Pacers this year. I'm kind of mad that I haven't bet the Pacers overs. Pacers scoring seems due for regression. Yeah, so I mean, it just depends on how you look at it. And that's probably why I haven't touched this game, because maybe I'm waiting for kind of another train to start here and see what happens. Do we start just pounding these unders now? We'll see what happens. But for the most part, too much talking on this game. I did not play it at all.
Yeah, I think more information needs to come in here.
Yeah, I think Jimmy does play. I know you're asking about it. I think Jimmy plays.
Well, KD in our chat, Kadesh says that Bam is good to go. So,
and maybe that's why the total's going under. I mean, you do have the veteran presence in order to kind of control the tempo of the game, but I like I said, that Portland game to me was just kind of maybe a one-off. But I feel like in order to beat the Pacers, you're gonna have to obviously you have to outshoot them, but I just think you're gonna have to run up and down the court. I don't know. So I can't put a gauge on a game. I'm cool on it for right now.
Kadesh saying Miami under team, but Pacers run so much. Billy Friedrich saying Pacers 14-2 to the over, and DC Capper on that over. Let's roll into the next. Oh yeah.
What do you think with that? Do you think Pacers can Heat can control the tempo against the Pacers, or they have to go up and down the court?
No, if Butler's in and Bam's in, then the Heat can control the pace.
Okay.
Now they'll be pushed to run because they're old,
right?
And the young legs are going to push them to run, but they can still slow it down and take control. I mean, that's all within reason. But
Okay, that game, I'll just give you the total there: 119-117 Miami.
Here we go.
Has
Final
Miami
score.
winning that game
Here.
by 2.
All right, let's roll on to the next spot on the board. The Detroit Pistons 2-16, 1-8 on the road at New York Knicks, 10-7, 5-3 at home at Square Garden, New York. I could not believe how bad they looked against the Lakers.
Oh,
I really thought, the Lakers come to town, you're gonna have fans. I mean, like, look at the Atlanta Hawks games. When the Lakers come to town, it sells out. It's magic. It's exciting, and they just no-showed. And now they go into Madison Square Garden. Could they no-show again? I mean, it's crazy. Tori Coker says if Jimmy plays, hit the under in that Pacers Heat game. But here we go. Pistons, Knicks. We have the Knicks as 14-point favorites. They opened up at 13. They're now at 14, a 1-point move. From a total side of things, we are dealing with a 219.5. It opened up at 218.5. Cash flow wise in this one, we have 59% of tickets and 90% of cash on the under. Yeah, it's gone up a point. And on the spread, it's a 50-50 situation. I mean, we got 51% of tickets and 50% of cash on the Knicks. So here we say, will the Pistons show up? I mean, there's two ways of looking at that. One, will the Pistons show up? And two, will the Knicks take this game seriously? So there's two sides of that coin, and obviously if you have a feel for it, you'll be able to move on it. Now the Knicks just destroyed a weak opponent at home, but that was after losing to Phoenix at home, barely squeaking past Miami. So that was on Tuesday night. They destroy Charlotte. They feel good about themselves, and the Pistons were an absolute disgrace. They were a disgrace back-to-back nights in front of their home fans. I mean, I don't know how a group of men can do that. I don't know how people are paying for tickets here. You lose by 19 to Washington, and then you turn around and lose by 26 to the Lakers. Take it away for us here, Darryl. Pistons, Knicks, MSG.
So I watched that Laker game yesterday, like every game. Stu Lent said the craziest thing, which is I didn't even realize it till I looked at the numbers. Lakers are second to last in offensive rebounds per game. Like, they get absolutely no fucking boards whatsoever. Second to last. The last place team is OKC, which is kind of crazy to me. Lakers are giving about 8.2. Do you know Detroit is sitting 4th in the league in offensive rebounds? So second chance points and all that should not be an issue for Detroit against the Lakers, and the Lakers blew them out the fucking water. You know who's sitting second in the league in offensive rebounds? New York Knicks. It's the Knicks, man. So when I look at how the Knicks should play, and I just use rebounds, just looking at Dean Oliver's 4 factors of the game and how, those rebounds have some kind of weighted measure to them. This game, the Knicks should absolutely demolish them. I see it being a game that gets away from them early. And then maybe there could be some type of backdoor cover. If I were to play this game, I would look at Knicks first quarter, first half. But Technology Solutions has this game, New York 118, Detroit 103. Right? So that might be kind of close at the end. But I just think when you look at these two teams, the Knicks should get them early. Remember, we were scoring off the Knicks pretty heftily last year, especially first half. We kind of rode that train. So if I'm going to play this game, I would look at the Knicks early, and I would probably just stay off the full game. Maybe just be aware of a backdoor cover. But Detroit, right now, 21st in the league with first quarter scoring, and the Knicks actually are a little less than that. They're 26th in the league right now. But when you look at their first half, that one there, it's kind of when it picks up. New York then moves to, I'll say 23rd, and then Detroit second to last. So if you're going to look at a play here, I would just think maybe look at the Knicks first half and then just stay off the game.
We've talked about the Pistons battling on second half of back-to-backs, just like the Raptors. They seem to play well in second half back-to-backs. Beginning of the year, 27-28, Charlotte-Chicago, they beat Chicago by 16 on a back-to-back. Then they played Portland, New Orleans in the back-to-back, At New Orleans, they lose by 9 on the second half back-to-back. They play pretty good. Against Golden State, they lose by 11 on the second half back-to-back. They look pretty good there. Then they almost beat Denver. So they lose at Toronto by 29 points. And then they come back on the second half back-to-back and almost beat Denver. This is the spot. Yeah. This is the spot to back the Pistons.
Think so? Yeah, or for the take the Pistons, which is funny because it makes sense. That's why I'm probably afraid of that full game. So I like your look there. I mean, that's a lot. That's why I say it's a backdoor. If you're going to take the Knicks, take them early and get out. Now, I'm going to give you a website. So you guys in the chat, if you have your notes on your phone, write it down, talismanred.com. Talisman Red, TALISMANRED.com/ratings/NBA. So look at that. And that's going to give you it's basically a computer model that runs thousands of simulations and gives you the outcome of the score. Look at that. They're hitting at a pretty high clip here as far as getting right. If you just want to use kind of like a guiding measure for when you're capping your games. And Nate, no, there's no fucking way I'm putting a shamrock behind me. You know better than that. You know better.
My decision is made. I'm moving on the Pistons plus 14. Kadesh liking that site that you just talked about. That's my first spot on the board. Pistons plus 14 full game. We'll be moving on that one. Let's keep rolling here. 8 p.m. Eastern. Milwaukee Bucks 13-5, 5-4 on the road. Chicago Bulls 5-14, 4-6 at home. United Center in Chicago, Illinois. Yeah. Getting some love from Swiss Horton. North Ender saying it's 14.5 there. I'll be happy to take that hook. Thank you for letting me know, North Ender. We'll be waiting a couple minutes to bet it. We're almost done the card here. Let's move on to the next spot. Bucks, Bulls. Man, maybe a visit from the Bucks can have the Bulls caring about this basketball game. First off, we'll take a look at the total. It opened up at 228. It's now at 228.5. It's not a real. Oh yeah, it is a real 228.5. Juice to the over. So this could be a 229 here pretty soon. Yeah. Let's take a look at the spread in this one. The spread here for this spot, Bucks, Bulls. Sorry, here we go. It's sitting at 8.5. Bulls are 8.5 point dogs. They opened up at 8. There's been a half-point move towards the Milwaukee Bucks. Cash-wise here for this one, we have 87% of the tickets and 96% of the cash on the Milwaukee Bucks. 96. Wow. Total-wise, 62% of tickets are on the under. 96% of the cash is on the Milwaukee Bucks here, and it's only moved a half point. The Bucks coming off their third straight win, 131-124 at Miami on Tuesday evening, and the Bulls come in off yet another loss. This one was horrific. That 4-game road trip, they played one game within 10 points of the opposition, and that was against Brooklyn. Other than that, they got run out the gym by everybody. Is it possible that the Bulls could slap back here with all this talk about Levine being traded? He's a game-time decision. DeRozan is a game-time decision. There's talk up here about signing DeRozan in the offseason. There was a nice gesture between him and Masai that kind of surprised people because they thought there was some animosity. 5 straight losses for the Bulls. Take it away for us here, Darryl. Bucks, Bulls.
Real quick, you ready for this? Are you ready for this fucking analysis? You ready? Just tell me you're ready.
I think, yeah, I'm ready. Right.
Give me Bucks first quarter minus. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is.
You ready for this? Here's my analysis. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit. So yeah, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is.
Ooh, we got two.
Wait,
Take it away.
2 of them. Yeah, and yeah. You know who is the last place team in first quarter scoring? The Bulls. They are absolutely horrendous. This team right now is in shambles, if you ask me. And they actually have Billy Donovan on the hot seat right now for possibly being the next coach fired, right? So I just think it's one of these things. If you look at the Bucks and Bulls history, the Bucks mopped these boys in the first quarter. I mean, last game they played early in the season, Bulls gave you 18 points. And I think this is when you can catch the Bucks when they're on this high streak. And right now, the best time to ever fade the Bulls, regardless of what that spread is when they're playing a really good team. And this line is 8.5 for a reason. That line last time was at 9.5. And they actually covered that. But in that first quarter, you're talking about 32-18. If you look at where the money is right now, plays that are damn near automatic is fading the Bulls first quarter. Fade them first quarter. It is as automatic as Pacers games over, right? So this is just another one of those instances where I was waiting for the Bulls. I was waiting for the Bulls to play a really good team. If you looked at the Bulls game against Boston, look at the first quarter there. Look at the first quarter against Brooklyn and Toronto, OKC. Just look at the first quarters and how bad they do. It's not good. This is what they're probably their last game right now. This is the fifth road game that they have. These boys are ready to go home. They're probably ready to go home, man. Started off in OKC, Toronto, Brooklyn, Boston, and now they're playing Milwaukee at home. I'm sorry. They're already at home. Excuse me for that. Sorry about that. So I in any case, this to me is just a spot to where they're going to play a Milwaukee team that's on that incline again, and the Bulls are in disarray. You heard Alex Caruso mention we need efficiency and effort, which we don't have right now. You heard Zach LaVine talk about there's more. We've had more than enough team meetings. We're kind of over that. We just need to get out and play. They don't like each other, man. They really don't. They really don't. They just need to blow this team up, which they're going to probably do anyways. Give me Milwaukee, man. I'm all over that. I saw LJ likes the first half. Do that as well. But for whatever reason, regardless of what these spreads are, they're going to lose in the first quarter. And then for whatever reason, kind of dig themselves out of a hole. They'll lose the game. They may cover. But one thing they're not covering are first quarter spreads at all. And 2.5, you telling me all I need is a 3-pointer to win the first quarter? I am on this. I'm in there like swimwear.
You got it locked in, Darryl. The second, I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is play today. Bucks first quarter -2.5 at -112. We move on. Next up for us, 8 p.m. Eastern, the Utah Jazz 6-12, 1-8 on the road at the Minnesota Timberwolves 13-4, 8-1 at home. Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We moved on the Memphis Grizzlies.
Oh shit, Jimmy! Yeah. I'm sorry, real quick. I also played Giannis over 11.5 rebounds.
Oh, let's get that. What was that?
I got that at -104. It's actually juiced to the under at -114. I took the over on that game. I just think he gets you 13. He got 11 last game. So, it's probably win or lose by the hook here. But I just believe we can get to 12-13. So Giannis over 11.5 rebounds.
Yeah, it's -103 here at Pinnacle. So we'll drop a cent on that. Over 11.5 boards, -103 for Darryl. Let's move on to this Jazz Timberwolves spot, Target Center in Minneapolis. I was mentioning how we confidently, well, I guess it wasn't that confident, but we bet the Grizzlies yesterday for their first home victory of the year, and we got paid, and it felt good. Part of our 3-0 day yesterday. Here for line history, Minnesota opens up as 10.5-point favorites. There's been no movement here. No movement. Sometimes they've taken a little bit of juice, but there's been no movement. From a total side of things, get this up here. From a total side of things, we are dealing with a 221, another spot where no movement, a little bit of juice to the over. We have 52% of the tickets, 57% cash on the under. On the spread, we have 59% of tickets and 84% of cash on the Timberwolves, but there's been no movement there, which is a bit surprising. So the Jazz on the second half of back-to-back, they looked horrible at Memphis, horrible. Now they go into Minnesota. Minnesota played on Tuesday, beat Oklahoma City 106-103, and they destroyed Memphis in Memphis on Sunday night. The Jazz looked pretty good in those two home games against the Pelicans and then came back to earth at Memphis. Wonder if they're capable of bouncing back here. Of course, we know that Markkanen is out, done a game time decision. Take it away for us here, Darryl. Jazz, Wolves.
Yeah, Talisman Red says Minnesota wins by 9.14. Total is 231. I'm seeing a game here at Minnesota 123, Utah Jazz 106. We all know that you probably should take the Jazz at home. They're a 5-out team because everybody can pretty much shoot on that squad. So they pretty much live and die by the 3. If they're not draining threes, then they're probably most likely going to lose. So this spread is large for a reason. I would take Minnesota, but I have no play on this game at all.
Walker Kessler not starting. It's a surprise, a big surprise. You know, I can't imagine the Wolves taking this that seriously. Brooklyn Funk Project, we've moved the Cappers contest to 3 p.m. Eastern from now on, just so I can have a little bit of time to get my action in after the show and not have to wait till after the Cappers contest till 5 o'clock to make the bets that I've added. So we're almost done here, and then the Cappers contest will be at 3 p.m. Eastern for the rest of the year.
Someone's contest? Okay.
Yeah, we just do a Cappers contest show. It's fun show. But we have the Circa Millions ticket, and we've been pretty good. But our 4-week winning streak did come to an end with 2 and 3 week. But Jazz Wolves here, let's just take a look at what the Jazz have done on the second half of back-to-backs. Now, I imagine they've done nothing well this year, but let's just take a quick look at second half of back-to-backs because, you know, just like the Raptors did last night, and you could say, well, that's in your head. I've been watching this happen now. The first time they were in the back-to-back at Phoenix, they looked awful. And then they played Orlando really tough on the second half of back-to-back. Now, that was the second half of a home back-to-back, so maybe it's best to focus only on those road ones. And they looked awful against Portland second half of back-to-back. Yeah, I don't know if I can move on it here. We love you, Pete. Love you, Brooklyn Funk Project, man. But I have a lean towards the Jazz. I wish more of the public was on the Timberwolves. 59% of the tickets. So there's 41% tickets to think that Timberwolves might not take this too seriously. Craig Wood, top play. Oh, yeah. Sorry. I almost said that out loud. Okay. Jazz, Wolves. I guess I just leave it as a lean towards the Jazz. I don't know if I want to pull the trigger and trust that they're going to show heart here. But I do have a lean towards the Jazz. You're off of this spot here?
Off of it.
All right. Let's roll on. Next up for us, 8 p.m. Eastern, your Los Angeles Lakers, 11-8, 4-6 on the road to Oklahoma City Thunder, 11-6, 5-4 at home. Paycom Center in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Brent Cook saying 110, 109 are home away numbers. Here we go. We just saw the Lakers smash and grab after an embarrassing loss, an extremely embarrassing loss. We saw them bounce back in a way that you expect from LeBron James teams. He gathered the troops and they fired back. They'd lost by 42 the night before, or 2 nights before in Philadelphia. They came back and they bounced back against Detroit. So here they are on the second half of a back-to-back. Now, they didn't have to exert much energy last night, but this is the end, right? This is the end of their 4-game road trip. I don't know how this just seems like a really difficult spot here. Wanting to go home off the road trip. They got their bounce back. So what's going to happen here? Now, the market is telling you that the Thunder are, highly thought of. They open up at -6. They're now at 5.5, but that's, a decent size spread. From a total side of things here, we have it sitting at 233. This opened up at 231.5. We've gone up 1.5 points. And then from the cash flow for this one, everybody on the Thunder, 84% of tickets, 85% of cash, and the lines just moved a 0.5 point towards the Lakers. That's very fishy. And totals wise, 79% of tickets, 71% cash on the over. Take it away, Darryl. Your Lakers in play at OKC.
Yeah, the play here is going to be OKC first quarter. OKC first quarter -2.5 is the play to take. But I have not stepped on that yet. I have not. And the reason why is because, to be dead honest, it's an emotional play. I just don't. I believe that the Lakers can get these boys, but the Lakers have not really done good in the first quarter or first half. Now, the Lakers are terrible in I want to say in opponents or offensive rebounds. I was looking at their stats. OKC is not really that much better. OKC, I believe, is actually behind them. If I'm looking at the offensive rebound points per game, Lakers are ranked 29. OKC is last, which is kind of weird to me. So what I would go here, honestly, would be the same play that I played before. I believe that OKC will get their team total, and I believe that Chet could get his points. But yeah, this is the last game. These boys is probably ready to go home. They've done pretty good. What are they now? Are they 2-1? So they beat the Cavaliers. They got smoked by the 76ers, and then they smoked the Pistons. So to split 2-2 on a 4-game road trip, I mean, it's not too bad. The next thing that's coming up for these boys is get ready for, this in-season tournament, right? They're about to play the Suns in the semis here, or the quarter, or whatever you want to call it, right? So I don't know if that's where their head is at now. I mean, this game is really kind of doesn't matter to them. Their record right now, 11-8. OKC's 11-6. I mean, Lakers have been doing okay this year in comparison to what they looked like last year. And they can all tell you that they're happy with the results they have now, only because they're still not at full strength. Vandalorian has not even been on the court. He was a starter, right? Gabe Vincent, he was supposed to be possibly starting in front of D'Lo, right? So you have 1.5 potential starters, if you will, that have not played at all, and the Lakers are in a good position. So I just don't know where their mindset is right now. I'm probably going to get there. It'll be a plays that I tweet out later once I do a little more homework on this, but I'm going to look at OKC team total over, OKC first quarter -2.5. Could be a lower number by that point, not sure. And then Chet Holmgren over his points.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I'm going to stay off of this spot. I can understand people wanting OKC, but with this much money on them, there should be a move in their direction.
Yeah.
So not. I don't find that appealing. Justin McElvey on the Lakers +6.5. We already heard from DC Capper on OKC.
Yeah. For what they're old guys, you've got older guys, AD and LBJ, obviously playing them back to back. But again, they didn't play many minutes, right? They smacked up the Cavs, didn't play a lot of minutes, but then got smacked up by Philly. They didn't play a lot of minutes really last night. I think it was like 29 minutes that LBJ had posted 29 minutes on yesterday. Not a lot of minutes, so these guys could be pretty fresh. I just don't know just yet.
I don't find it appealing. I've got off to the strong start in NBA. I've stayed away from totals. I've tried to. I'm 1 and 2 in 3 totals. I'm trying to, and I plan to keep that going just to see how far I can take this cleanliness and sides only. Let's move on to 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll see what our guy Darryl adds, but we also heard from LJ. LJ, best bet of the day, OKC first quarter -2. 8 p.m. Eastern, Atlanta Hawks 8-9, 5-4 on the road. San Antonio Spurs 3-14, 1-8 at home at the Frost Bank Center in San Antonio, Texas. And we have the Spurs in the midst of a 12-game losing skid. They just faced Denver in Denver. That was a bit ago. We're talking that would have been Sunday night. Sunday night, they played Denver, losing 132-120. That was on the heels of a very close game at Golden State. Hawks have lost 2 straight, both on the road, Boston and Cleveland. They're just, 5-4 on the road. They're 4-4 at home. They're just a very mediocre basketball team. They lost at Boston by 10, and then they got crushed by Cleveland. It seems like the Hawks would come in focused here because of that losing streak. Let's take a look at the line history here. Atlanta is 7.5-point favorites. I mean, there's no team, there's no NBA team that I would take the Hawks on the road as 7.5-point favorites against. This opened up at 7.5. It quickly moved to 8, and then it went right back to 7.5. Yeah, sure, they're going to be, taking this game seriously, but still, do you want them as this big of a favorite on the road? And my answer is just no. This total's at 248.5. It opened up at 246.5. Initially dropped, and then it's climbed up to 248.5. I mean, that's absolutely a ridiculous number. From a total standpoint here, you have 81% of the tickets and 72% of cash on the over, 81 and 72. And then on the point spread, we have 75% of the tickets and 78% of cash on the Atlanta Hawks. Take it away for us here, Darryl. We have Shohan and Wemby as game time decisions. The floor is yours.
Yeah. don't want to play this game. I do not want to take this shit away. I don't give a fucking shit about this game, to be honest with you. I don't. I really don't. I mean, I guess just a square look is just to fade the shit out of San Antonio. They're 1-8 at home. They're 3-7 ATS in their last 10, right? So they're not covering spreads. Hawks can't really just shoot you out the building, but I don't know how to gauge San Antonio just yet, right? They're still learning. I don't think Wemby plays. You know, I don't think Pop is going to put him out there and force him to play. I mean, Pop is the godfather of resting players. This is the reason why we have all these rules in the league right now, and these new rules that the NBA just came out with this year with these, you know, these veteran players and stuff like that, is because of what Pop did years ago with Tim Duncan. You know, he sent his players home on a plane. I forget the year that happened, but it was the 3 players he had sent on a plane. So these resting players is kind of the inception of, you know, Pop's ideology about them just being ready for the postseason. So yeah, I don't think that Wemby plays. Maybe you might see some movement there, or maybe Pop was just going to really leave it up to him. But something very interesting, I remember watching Pop do with Wemby. And it was Wemby at Madison Square Garden. And before the game started, Pop went up to Wemby and he says, "Hey, you know, what are you thinking right now in this state? Like where you are, what are you thinking about?" And Wemby started talking to him. And he's like, "All right, good. And they asked Pop about that. And Pop said, "I'm just still wanting to learn my player. You know, this is still very new to him. And I just want to learn him and know him the best I can." And it was just funny seeing Pop kind of say that, to where he was kind of leaving the decision up to Wemby on how he was feeling and what he wanted to do. So all in all, I just feel that it's not going to be really a Pop's decision. But if Wemby goes up to Pop and says, "I can't play," or something like that, Pop is not going to play him. He's not going to force to play him. So this one here, I would just kind of hurry up and wait just to see what happens with the final injury report before you make a play. But for right now, nothing on this game.
Yeah, more information is needed for sure on that one. All right, let's move on to the final game on today's show. 10 p.m. Eastern. The Los Angeles Clippers 7-9, 2-6 on the road. The Golden State Warriors 8-10, just 3-6 at the Chase Center. What's up?
Hold on. I just forgot to tell you, because I keep San Antonio 116, Atlanta 123 on the prediction tracker.
Wow, that would be way under here, but I'm not going to mess with that one. Primetime 99 says under NFL primetime tonight. Primetime 99, we are going heads up, my friend. I moved very confidently with conviction in the face of that trend. And I moved on Monday. Got nice numbers. First half over 23, full game over 46. We're in business. BJ says Warriors smash spot. Get right after getting embarrassed off that 124-123 loss at Sacramento on Tuesday night. And the Clippers, in a very easy spot last night, looked very, very good. Are they going to be able to do that again is the question, because, you know, Kawhi went for 34. They shot 50% from 3. Harden actually looked good. It was a shocking situation. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. Clippers, Warriors, final spot on the board. And again, our Cappers contest show will be at 3 p.m. in about 45 minutes. Warriors are sitting at -5 and -107. They opened up -4.5, got up to 5, got up to 5.5. There's been a half point of buyback. Still a half point move to the Golden State Warriors. From a total scenario here, we are dealing with a 227.5 juice to the under. A 227.5 juice to the under. Opened up at 228, dropped half point, then came back. So there we go. Then cash flow wise on this one, 64% of the tickets, 61% of the cash on the Warriors, move slightly towards them. And then from a total side of things, you have 41% of the tickets and 97% of cash on the under, and yet it's not moving. BJ saying Curry was not happy. So we got an angry Curry here. And we took a look at that cash flow. So set the table here for in out. We have Chris Paul out. So it's Curry, Thompson, Wiggins, Green, and Looney for the Warriors. And for the Clippers, a Norm Powell game time decision, but everybody else other than Plumlee looks good to go. Take it away for us here, Darryl. Our final game on the board, Clippers, Warriors. Are the Warriors a must bet here?
Yeah, I don't want to take it away. I don't want to fuck this game. I mean, did you see the clip with Charles Barkley saying basically the Warriors are cooked?
I did not
Absolutely know. Yeah. He was like, man, they're cooked. They're old. They're cooked. I get it. They need to try to trade Clay. He's cooked for real. It's just this team is not the same. And he talked about how Curry is a lot older and he's getting hurt. He was already hurt this season, right? And these injuries are starting to catch up with him. A lot of mileage on Curry as well, going to the postseason a lot. I don't know how to gauge this Warriors team. To be honest with you, I don't know why they're favored. I don't. I don't know at all. Looking at this, Golden State total for that game, 229, home 3.92. 3.92. The other prediction tracker has the Clippers 113, Golden State 115, right? Why is it at a -5? Kind of crazy to me. It's actually working better for the Clippers with Russ coming off the bench, right? He's bringing in that spark and that energy to run that second team. And that kind of hurts a Golden State team that's old. Chris Paul not being, available, it doesn't really make a difference for the starters. He's going to give you depth, but he's not running up and down the court. So I don't know. This game here, I feel like this is just a Clippers spot to play him. So I don't have any faith in Golden State right now. I just got to look at them a little more than I have been. And yeah, I think this could easily be the very end of the dynasty right here. Is this year alone? So right now, no play for me. But if I had to make a play, it would be the Clippers here. Looks like everything is set up to where the Clippers aren't going to cover. It might win, but might not cover. And then on really quick, I did move on OKC first quarter -2.
OKC first quarter. Let's give you that. Darryl, I'm very close to moving on the Warriors.
Really?
Yeah, the clip looked so good last night against a team in a horrible situation. And this is an angry Warriors group. The problem is I think the 5 is crucial. I don't think you want more than a 5. And it's 5.5 to 365 if I wanted to send it in. At least it's 5 here at Pinnacle, so I could bet it there. That's what it feels like to me. It feels like a spot where the Warriors play well. They're taking a lot of heat. Let me just make sure that I can't beat your first quarter look here. First quarter, OKC -2. What juice did you get? I'm getting -111 here.
I'll tell you right now. Bets.
Billy,
I got that at -110.
Okay, cool. We'll give you that. Billy, thank you for sharing that with us. I am interested. I'm going to copy and paste that right here. Wouldn't mind a little action. He'll be a little devoid of action.
What I've also done, I got it at +257. I'm going to add this as an official play also.
Okay, what is that?
That is a parlay. I'm giving you my first parlay of the year. First parlay of the year. This is going to be Cleveland Cavaliers -4, Milwaukee Bucks -2.5. Parlay, got it at +257. Sprinkle a little lunch money on there, man. I think those two hit.
You got it locked in. All right, let's review all action here on this card today. Billy Friedrich gave us the OKC first half as his best bet of the day in NBA. Sammy Culmer, Bucks first quarter -2.5. Darryl has that parlay, just spoke of it, +257. Then he's got the Cavs first quarter -3.5. Nets first quarter -2.5. He's got I'm going to be on the Bucks plus 14. I'm going to lock that in as soon as the show's over. Darryl's on the Bucks first quarter minus 2.5. Giannis over 11.5 boards. I have a lean towards the Jazz. I'm going to leave that as a lean right now until we get some more information. And then Darryl's on OKC minus 2 at minus 111. Perky Sanders said Clips are hot, finding their gel, and they fed their big man last night. Well, yeah, they were against an exhausted Kings team, and they took advantage of it. Look, I don't think the Clippers are a bad team, but these are two teams that are each 2 games under 500. The Golden State Warriors are 3-6 at home, and I think they come out angry. I want them. I want them here, and I'm going to bet them. But I need the 5, so I'll have to put it in a pinnacle. That is our show for today. That's our NBA breakdown. I'll give you a review of everything that is on here for all of us through all the sports here in a second. But Darryl, thank you so much for rocking with us. Love these Thursdays together. Please follow my guy on X at It's Darryl. Darryl, my man, any last words for the Cappers supporting the show?
Yeah, man. It's been great, man. I think the season's going to treat us really good. We're in that flow right now to where you should be having a good read on your teams that you're betting. So I appreciate everyone in the chat, man. You guys are the shit. I appreciate you guys. Jimmy, as always, brother, it is a pleasure to sit down and talk ball with you, man, on Thursdays. We finally had a big card. So it was really good, man. Thank you much. Peace and love to everybody. I'll chat with y'all next week.
I love it. There he is. It's Darryl. We have 39 minutes before the Cappers contest. Let's review all action. We just got from Billy Friedrich Davison Figueiredo this week for UFC. Says you can still get plus money. I think that I will roll with you there. And that's I'm not going to have much action on Saturday. I'm going to be taking it pretty easy. And I wouldn't mind something. And I don't know if I've ever tailed you. I don't think I've ever tailed you on UFC before. And I don't tail often, but I wouldn't mind having some action on that. So I'm gonna roll with you there, Billy. I'm gonna roll with you there. Let's go over all action here on the show. So in NHL, I'd moved on 5 bets. Oh, King Al wanted me to give a best bet in each sport. Well, I'll tell you, I think the Florida Panthers are the best bet on the board. Risk reward, they're not. You'd have to take them on the -1 line, and even that isn't very good. You might want to use it as a money line parlay piece. For risk reward, I would say the best bet on the board is St. Louis Blues. That's what I would say. But in NHL here, I moved on 5 spots before the show started. I have the Hurricanes -1 at -120, the Blues -1 at +150, the Panthers -1.5 at +115, San Jose Boston under 6 at -115, and then I added the Stars -1 at +127. We're going to go over the additions and Gogster's action right now. So Gogster's on the first period of the Kraken Maple Leafs, both teams to score in the full game over 6.5 at +107. Then I'm adding the under 6.5 in Chicago, Detroit. Gogster's a 3-team parlay, Bruins, Panthers, Red Wings at +148. He's on the first period under 1.5 in Pittsburgh, Tampa, and the under 6.5. I'm going to add the Flyers. I'm already told you about those 2 spots. Then I'm very interested in adding the under, and I think I will in Minnesota, Nashville. God, I'm going to have a lot of action tonight. It makes me nervous. Ron Crawford spreadsheet play days, Winnipeg. Ghoster's on first period, both teams to score in Edmonton, Winnipeg. I'm already on the Stars -1. I want to add the under 6. I think there's going to be a lot of animosity. I'm going to do it because Markstrom's starting to play better at home, and Dallas just plays a real tight game on the road. So I'm going to do that. And then Gogster is on the Knights team total under 3.5, parlayed with the Canucks money line. My dad sent me $20 for the Knights money line +105, and I'm not sending it in. I'm not making an official pick or anything, not betting it, but obviously I now have money on the Canucks. Then I'm going to be on both the Ducks and the under 6. I'm going to put that in here after the show. Ghoster's on the first period under 1.5 and the under 6 as well. Then in the football game, I'm going right up against the trend of the unders. I'm going right in the face of it. And I think I'm going to come home with the money. I'm on the first half over 23 and the full game over 46. I bet on Monday. For Gogster, he's on Geno Smith, longest reception over 35.5 passing or over 35.5 yards. And then he's on Seahawks +14.5 and the over 48.5. That's a -110. Then we have Matty Ice. Taint play today is Hofstra -5.5. Cab has a parlay. It's a money line, first half money line parlay. Florida Atlantic, first half money line, minus 230. Creighton, first half money line, minus 240. Put that together, you get plus 103. And then he's on Oregon State, minus 2.5. Cab's on SMU, Tulane over 47 in football. Dave's on Bama, plus 6. I'd like to add Bama. The only thing I've done so far is App State. Cab's on Georgia, first half, minus 3, minus 115. Dabby's on Florida State, minus 2.5. And so is Dave. They're both on that. And then in college basketball, Dave's on Butler, minus 2.5. Over 153.5. Oregon State, minus 2.5. I think that I'm going to roll with Butler and Oregon State. I think I'm going to add those two here as the show ends. And I already went over NBA. There you go. That is our show for today. Feel good. We had a winning day yesterday. Should have been a huge winning day, but whatever. It was a winning day across all sports. And we need one today. As you guys know, Friday's my in-out day with the local. So it's an important day. Very important day. We're going to have a ton of action. Ton of NHL action. So best bets through sports. I'm only going to give you the really, I'm not going to give you a college basketball best bet or college football best bet. Those are, but I like the I like the over very much in the Thursday Nighter. If you can get it 47, do that. 47.5, 27-20 final score is not out of the cards. A 30-17 final score is not, it's just plausible. So that's for NFL. For NBA, the best bet on the board, I'll give it to you. And you guys may think this sounds absolutely nuts, but it's the Detroit Pistons plus 14. I think is the best bet on the board, or 14.5. There you go. That's our show for today. A truth teller is on the Seahawks tonight. That one dude, Mikey saying Butler is back. Mike saying Butler is back. The chillest in the house. My man, Fat Cat Ninja. Viper NB, Perky, Sanderson, Justin McElvey, Nasty, motherfucking Nate. The house. Nate, which one? On the over in football? Sorry, I just give it so much action. I want to know which one you're talking about. All right. Thank you, guys. Kongs, Clips in the house. Billy, Friedrich, BJ, Brent, Cook. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your support. Andrew G. Londo in the house. Troy Torrance. Thank you. Thank you all. Kadesh Dean, Tori Coker, Astute Chaos, Norman Ross, Equinimus, Kadesh, LJ, DC Capper, Swiss Horton. Thank you, guys. Brooklyn Funk Project. All right. LJ from H-Town. He'll be our NBA expert tomorrow. Drew Vinsky, King Al. Now let's go out there and get the finish. I'll see you guys in 33 minutes for the Cappers Contest show. We put in the work. Now we need to reap the goddamn rewards. Let's motherfucking let's check this shit. Milk this shit. Lunch it! Those bookmakers.